day or take part in compulsory training to keep their job seekers allowance. The Tory MP Harriet Baldwin says the changes are a way for the government to support people as the economy starts to grow.
All the evidence suggests that some experience of work, whether it's in a voluntary capacity or through encouragement from the job centre, is an incredibly important way to find yourself into work. There's no point in sitting around at home looking online. You've got to be out there and putting yourself forward.
The number of complaints against dentists is increasing across the 3 counties, part of a 44% rise nationally. The scale of the problem has prompted the General Dental Council to issue new guidelines to help patients know what they can expect from their dentist surgery. On the streets of Luton, people had mixed views about a trip to the dentist.
It's a bit expensive, but I think it's worth paying for. At the end of the day, you can't put a price on the health, and I have no fear of dentists. I know my children do, but that's really down to the dentist to solve that problem.
Of course, I have the certain inhibitions. I don't like actually having to go there very often. I hate having problems with my teeth, but I've had no problems up to now with the service.
A public consultation into cuts totalling £17 million at Bedford Borough Council closes today. The authority says it's targeting bureaucracy and back office costs in order to protect frontline services. Overall, it needs to make a £37 million reduction in spending by 2019. And in sport, Liverpool are up to second in the Premier League after a 3-1 win at Sunderland. In League One yesterday, Coventry lost 2-0 at home to Brentford. Your weather for Beds, Herts and Bucks, it will be mainly dry today, but breezy and cloudy with a small chance of patchy rain. There'll be some sunny spells this afternoon. There'll be a top temperature of 17 degrees Celsius. That's 63 degrees Fahrenheit. And don't forget, you can get all your latest sport and news online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Morning, dear listener. This is Iain Lee, BBC 3 Counties Radio. I smell of rabbit dung. Do you call it dung if it's a rabbit? What sized animal does it have to come to? They're droppings, aren't they, from a rabbit? Dung from a cow? No, I'm confused. Anyway, well, not a particularly glamorous way to start the week, is it? Discussing the size of animals. Whoopsies. Anyway, that's what I stink of. The rabbit's wee-wee. Oh my gosh, it's toxic. It's toxic. I hadn't cleaned out the rabbit hutch for 4 days. I'm surprised Benjamin was still alive. It was like breathing in ammonia. That's the thing, isn't it? I'll tell you about the dead vole we found. Another dead vole. Squashed flat under a box of Lego. How did it get... My cat's clever. She ain't that clever. Lots coming up on the show this morning. Not a drop of rabbit poo anywhere, apart from the last 2 minutes. American university giant Harvard squares up to Milton Keynes pipsqueak Havard. Havard says the little fella's trying to steal its glory. Harvard is. Well, I'm confused. Are you? Complaints against dentists are up. Are you one of the many dissatisfied customers, or do you just avoid the dentist altogether? And the Tories want to take away benefits from the unemployed who won't work. They want them to pick up litter and cook for the elderly? What do you reckon? Facebook.com/BBC3CR. Send me a text, 81333, start your text 3CR. Or give me a call, please. 08459 455 555.
Across Beds, Herts and Bucks.
This is BBC 3 Counties Radio.
Stop behaving like a bunch of girls. There's a reason I'm saying that. Keep listening and you'll find out why. Now, this is a confusing story, so bear with us. The prestigious American university, Harvard, you've probably heard of it, is taking a Milton Keynes business school to court over its choice of name. It's called Havard, which you probably haven't heard of. And Havard isn't about to take it lying down. It's filing a £2 million counterclaim. Catherine Boyle has been following this story closely. Catherine, this is an odd one, isn't it?
It is a bit, yeah. We're talking about two institutions from very different worlds.
Am I pronouncing Havard correctly? Havard?
I hope
Havard?
so. If it's Harvard, then it's cheeky, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, that's for the court to decide.
Yes.
We're talking about these two institutions, very different worlds. Harvard, everyone knows, a world-renowned Ivy League university. It's America's Oxford or Cambridge. Founded in 1636, the alma mater of such luminaries as the presidents Terry and Franklin Roosevelt. Teddy? I don't know Terry Roosevelt.
He's not quite so good. The thing about Harvard, we've all heard of
JFK,
it.
George Bush.
If you've ever seen an American film like Weekend at Bernie's or Weekend at Bernie's 2, Harvard is always mentioned in these films.
It's where it's at.
It's a huge institution.
Absolutely. And a Harvard degree is a real seal of quality, which goes some way to explaining why they're very protective of their name. And it has to be said, it bears more than a passing resemblance to Harvard. The Milton Keynes Harvard School of Management and Technology was founded in 2010 and is yet to turn out any president, Terry or otherwise, but it argues that the similarity has nothing to do with it, and it was actually named after the founder's grandfather. The founder is Reverend Dr. Tina Beloveth Powerful, and she says the name Harvard is legally backed up in the United Kingdom and it's registered within Companies House, so she's claiming £2 million from Harvard to cover the cost of any name change.
So what do we know about the details of these claims, and when is the case going to be heard?
Well, the American university is suing the business school over alleged trademark infringement, and it's seeking an injunction and damages. At a preliminary hearing at the High Court, the US university claimed there was evidence of confusion between the two. Harvard, which describes itself as the seat of wisdom, denies the allegation. The court heard it had issued a counterclaim, which the founder has told us is for £2 million, and she's going to be coming in later on in the morning to speak to you directly. Mr. Justice Roth said a full hearing for the case will be heard next February, and said one of the main issues to be decided would be whether Harvard has suffered any loss or damages from the activities of Harvard School.
There's a couple of points here. I don't know where I sit on this, because there are a couple of points here. The first one is, if Harvard are trying it on and they're chancing their arm a bit by having a similar name, that's very, very naughty. But part of me thinks, if anybody is thick enough to confuse the two colleges, then they deserve to go to Harvard, don't they? If they're going, I've signed up to Harvard in Milton Keynes. And if people are that
stupid... They might think that they were in some way aligned.
Yeah.
You never know. You have a lot of universities that have satellite organisations elsewhere. I went to the University of Nottingham. I know that there is a University of Nottingham in China. And it's kosher.
Wow, there's a triple whammy. But also part of me thinks, come on, you Americans, go away. Leave our colleges and universities alone,
But if they make
please.
one rule, they have to abide by it. And I guess it's the same, with Apple, Coca-Cola, McDonald's. They have to be careful about who uses their name and who aligns themselves with their product.
And we're speaking to the Reverend Dr. Tina Beloveth Powerful later on, aren't we?
We are. Excellent
stuff. Catherine Boyle, thank you very much indeed. 08459 455 555. Can't quite work out what I think about this one. Harvard? What do you think? A bit of chancing going on there, or should the American Harvard just back off? 08459 455 555. Now, I'm reading the Andy Williams autobiography, a book I bought in HMV for 49p, worth almost every single penny.
You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off you. You'd be like heaven to touch. I wanna hold you so much. At long last love has arrived, and I thank God I'm alive. You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off you. Pardon the way that I stay. There's nothing else to compare. The sight of you leaves me weak. There are no words left to speak. But if you feel like I feel, please let me know that it's real. You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off you. Can't take my eyes off you. You'd be like heaven I wanna hold you so much. At long last love has arrived, and I thank God I'm alive. You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off you. It's quite alright, I need you, baby, to warm the lonely night. I love you, baby, trust in me when I say, oh, pretty baby, don't bring me down, I pray. Oh, pretty baby, now that I've found you, stay. Oh, pretty baby.
He's good, Andy Williams. He is good. He's a bit cheesy, but once you see past the cheese, he's wonderful. His book is actually a cracking read. 49p. Oh, you can't say fairer than that, can you? Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. A story that was in several of the newspapers this weekend is in a newspaper this morning. It's in the Daily Mail, always first for news. I'm sorry for saying fighting like girls. BBC pundit's apology for jibe about footballers. Now have a listen to this. A BBC football pundit has apologised for saying two Premier League players had behaved like a pair of girls. He's apologised for that. OK. Former Liverpool and England striker Robbie Fowler was discussing the Tottenham-Chelsea game on Final Score on Saturday. But his apology left fans claiming it was another example of the BBC's obsession with political correctness. OK, political correctness gone mad. Well done. Let's have a look. During the game, Chelsea striker Fernando Torres and Tottenham defender Jan Vertonghen had been involved in a series of clashes. Fowler says Torres and Vertonghen were at each other's throats all game like a couple of girls. Less than half an hour later, Fowler apologised on the live BBC One show. I made a comment about women's football. I do apologise, he said. I don't know, is that how he talks? I don't know. Or it may be Scouse. Anyway. Thing is, he didn't make a comment about women's football, did he? Let's go through his quote again. Torres and Vertonghen were at each other's throats all game like a couple of girls, pulling each other's shirts and pushing each other. I made a comment about women's football. I do apologise. Catherine, were you...
The fact that in his mind he thinks he was talking about women's football makes it slightly worse, doesn't it?
Well, can I just... Listen. What's the problem with saying, oh, look, stop it, you two, you're behaving like a couple of girls?
Girls behave like that, do they?
Well, do you genuinely find that offensive?
I find it a silly throwaway comment, and the fact that it's embedded in common parlance says quite a lot about us, doesn't it? If you get that from when you're growing up, running like a girl, throwing like a girl, scrapping like girls, nattering like girls...
Whinging like a girl.
Exactly.
He carries on. I'm a big... Is he Liverpool, or is he...
Yeah, he's a Scouser.
Hey, I'm a big fan of Liverpool ladies, actually, who have a chance of winning the league tomorrow. I'll be watching that. Anyone at home who was offended, I am deeply sorry. I hope that's the end of that.
Isn't that the football version of some of my best friends are women? I like watching them play.
Don't you think... I tell you what, let's talk about it later on. I want to get Justin Dealey involved.
Oh, good.
Because I imagine he'll have very strong feelings about... Let's send Justin out to find out what people think, and you two can have a Barney and I'll go and have a cup of tea upstairs, right?
Fair enough.
Thank you very much. Well, you dear listener, what do you think? Were you offended? Let me just read his comment again in his proper voice. Torres and Vertonghen were at each other's throats all game, like a couple of girls. Are you offended? Not by that impression. Let's ignore the impression, but were you offended by what he said? 08459 455 555. What do you think that saying someone is that two men are behaving like a couple of girls is acceptable language? I don't know about this one. 08459 455 555. We'll put it on the Facebook page as well. That'll be up in a few minutes and you can have your say there. Facebook.com/BBC 3CR. Let's get the travel news now. Adam Glynn.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Problems through Buntingford very early on this morning. The A507, the Baldock Road, is closed. This is after a serious accident. It's at the junction with the A10 at the Vets roundabout. That's been closed off since just before 4 a.m. and could stay closed for another little while yet. We'll bring you updates as soon as we have them. Now, it's not looking too bad through the roadworks section on the A5 so far this morning, but it was very busy the last few days, even over the weekend, so do expect things to slow down a little bit on the approach to the Milton Keynes, as you come into Milton Keynes at the McDonald's roundabout. It's the A4146 junction, Watling Street round there as well, and it just has a tendency to slow up. Dorney Hill, now this is the A355 in Beaconsfield. They're still doing some roadworks there. Temporary traffic lights up between Burnham Road and Hare Hatch Lane. They're hoping to have all the works wrapped up tomorrow, though. They were doing a few sets down that stretch. Train departure board's looking pretty good. No late runners, no major problems. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much, Adam. It's coming up to 6:17. It's Monday, the 30th of September. Wow. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. The business school in Milton Keynes, which is being sued by a university in America with a similar name, is itself claiming £2 million in a counterclaim. The Chancellor, George Osborne, will set out changes to unemployment benefit today. The long-term unemployed who haven't found work after 2 years will have to accept work placements, attend the job centre every day, or take part in compulsory training to keep their job seekers allowance. In sport, Liverpool are up to second in the Premier League after a 3-1 win at Sunderland. The weather today for Beds, Herts and Bucks. It'll be mainly dry but breezy and cloudy with a small chance of patchy rain. Top temperature, 17 degrees. Coming up, it seems the number of complaints about dentists is on the rise across the three counties. We'll find out more before 6:30, and if you want to call me with your dentist stories, 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio. If you've got a problem with a company, a council or an organisation...
They were really, really unhelpful. They laughed at me.
The JVS show fights for your rights and tackles your consumer problems.
We have been back 11 visits, each time because of the problems my husband's been having.
Since the beginning of June, I've had no schedule freezer.
If you need our help, email jvsshow@bbc.co.uk.
Gentleman then agreed to refund me my money. As of yet, he's resold the vehicle and still no refund.
The JVS show, weekdays from 9, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Don't wish it away, don't look at it like it's forever. Between you and me, I could honestly say that things can only get better. And while I'm away, dust out the demons inside, and it won't be long before you and me run the place in our hearts where we hide. And I guess that's why they call it the blues. Time on my hands, good time spent with you, laughing like children, living like lovers, rolling like thunder under the covers. And I guess that's why they call it the blues. Just stare into space, picture my face in your hands. Live for each second without hesitation, and never forget I'm your man. Wait on me, girl, cry in the night if it helps. Put else. But more than ever, I simply love you more than I love life itself. And I guess that's why they call it the blues. Time on my hands could be time spent with you, laughing like children, living like lovers, rolling like thunder under the covers. And I guess that's why they call it the blues. The children living like lovers. And I guess that's why they call it the blues. The children living like lovers. And I guess that's why they call it the blues. And I guess that's why they call it the blues.
You would guess that, wouldn't you? Now, it seems the number of complaints about dentists is on the rise across the 3 counties. That's certainly been a 44% increase in the national figure. So the General Dental Council is issuing new guidance to help manage the expectations of patients. Well, we hit the streets of Luton, probably, and asked people to say, we didn't do that, that would be stupid. But we did ask them for their dental experiences.
It's me. I'm a nervous patient, and it's trying to find someone that deals with them and can look after you while you're... because it's frightening. I'm terrified. The whole experience, just a terrifying thing for me. Just totally. I don't like pain. It's crazy.
Well, the last time I went to the dentist was about 12 years ago. I've been to an orthodontist in the last 8 years, but the dentist not for about 12 years. I always used to find that if there was nothing wrong with my teeth, I'd go to the dentist and then I'd come back from the dentist feeling a little bit sorer or achier afterwards. But I take good care of my teeth, flossing and brushing, etc. So I find that should really be enough. I realise I probably should go more often, but I just don't really like going to the dentist.
Where I go, it's quite a big practice and it's quite poor areas, so they're really good in there. They really do put you at ease.
Flossing. Hey, listen, if you don't want to see a load of blood in your bathroom, don't floss. Oh, my goodness, the stuff that comes out. It's a bloodbath. 08459 455 555, your dental stories. Joining me now is Daphne Powell from Milton Keynes. Good morning, Daphne.
Good morning.
Daphne, I hear you had a bit of a terrible time at the dentist. What happened?
Oh, I certainly did, yes. I went to the dentist because I had a crown that kept falling out. I was going to an NHS dentist.
Yeah.
And then decided I would go to a private dentist to get the thing sorted once and for all.
Oh, you made of money, Daphne?
No, I'm not, but I was just so fed up with it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I decided to go and they said that they would give me a bridge. And when you're numbed up, you don't actually know what they're doing, really.
No.
And anyway, they drilled the whole of my teeth off to the gum. All of them at the top.
All of them?
Yeah.
And you weren't expecting all of them to be drilled off?
No, I only had one complaint about one tooth.
Oh dear, go on, yeah.
And they put in a denture. I couldn't have a bridge then because there was too many teeth.
And for those who don't know, a bridge is when it kind of fills a gap between 1 or 2 or 3 teeth.
Yeah, that's it.
So
it was to do. You get 3 teeth if you're just going to lose 1.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And they took all of the teeth of in the top or in the bottom as well.
Top, no, just
the
top. Yeah.
And they put dentures in.
Yeah. They certainly did, and it cost me a hell of a lot of money. And then after that, all the gums they stitched them in the gums, the roots.
Yeah.
And then after that, all the roots, the gums started to shrink, and the roots started to come through. So I was trying to chew with a mouthful of roots and a denture. Oh, it was horrific.
Painful?
Yeah, very.
How painful was it, Daphne?
It was horrific. I can't tell you how painful it was. I couldn't eat for months.
Did you complain to the dentist?
No, I didn't. I was going to, yes. I was going to sue the dentist. But that person's gone off to South Africa.
Ah, so you couldn't even get in touch with the initial... What did you do then, Daphne?
Well, all I can do now is just... I had to have them all out eventually. I had to have all the roots taken out bit by bit. I went to and complained about it to the dentist, and they took 2 teeth out. Well, I have to take warfarin. And she didn't ask me what my warfarin level was. No. She just took 2 teeth out. So 36 hours later, I'm still bleeding like a pig. I had to go to 2 hospitals and to get the bleeding stopped.
Daphne, how are your teeth now?
They're fine now.
They're fine now. So you can eat. You're not sucking on funny feet or ice lollies.
No,
you can eat properly.
Yeah.
Well, that's something.
I can now.
Has it put you off going to the dentist, Daphne?
Certainly has. Yes, it has. I have been recently, and I didn't like it. The idea of it at all, really, if I'm honest. Because you're just frightened to death when they inject your mouth. What's going to happen?
Yeah.
You know, when they're in there. I mean. The time when she drilled all the teeth off, she slipped with the drill and cut my lip. I had to have a stitch in my lip, and I really was going to sue her. I was going to send her, I was going to send her to the wall, but I couldn't find her. She'd gone back to South Africa.
Daphne, well, listen, I'm glad that your teeth are fine now. Thank you very much. That's Daphne Powell from Milton Keynes. By the way, I should have flagged that story up. If you've got children this morning going to the dentist, switch off 5 minutes ago. Sorry. They'll be in the car going, Mom, I don't want to go. It's an exception, don't worry. Most of them are excellent. Well, or are they? Daphne, thank you very much. 08459 455 555. She was bleeding like a pig. Not a phrase I've heard before, but I can. It's an horrific image, isn't it? Isn't it a bloody pig? 08459 455 555. I want your dentistry tales, please. Do you know what? I haven't been to the dentist for about a year because we've moved. I normally go every 6 months, every 8 months. I haven't been for about a year. I need to sign up for with my local dentist. But I stopped going to the hygienist. When did hygienists become a thing? Oh, you need to go to the hygienist. Oh, yeah, 60 quid. Oh, right, thanks very much. Yeah, that'll be good. And they make it... my mouth is like a bloody pig. Bleeding pig. Is that the phrase? Work Experience Ollie, who's cooperating with us today, is off to the dentist. Good luck with that, mate. Good luck.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Problems in Baldock still this morning. The Baldock Road, the A507, it's a bit closer to Buntingford, in fact, because it's through Buntingford that we've had it closed off. Accident investigation work at the junction with the A10, the Vets roundabout, which is the Baldock turning, but it's through Buntingford that they've put the closure in. That's been shut since about 4 this morning after a serious accident in the early hours. Diversion is via the Cotard Road through Throcking. It's not looking too bad around there at the minute, but you're likely to find it busy, certainly. On the M25, it's starting to slow up heading into the roadworks, anti-clockwise, junction 26 Waltham Abbey to 25 at Enfield, and then as you go past there toward Potters Bar, it's starting to get a little bit busier as well. Cameras further around the M25 showing no other problems. M40 looking good past High Wycombe and past the roadworks at junction 7 for Tame, and still no train or tube problems reported. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 6:30, the headlines. A business school in Milton Keynes is being sued by Harvard University. The founder of the Harvard School of Management and Technology has defended the use of the name, saying she named it after her grandfather. People who claim job seekers' allowance for more than 2 years face changes to their unemployment benefits under plans to be announced by the government today. The long-term unemployed will have to accept work placements or attend a job centre every day or take part in compulsory training to keep their job seekers' allowance. And the number of complaints about dentists is increasing across the 3 counties as part of a 44% rise nationally. The increase has prompted the General Dental Council to issue new guidelines to help patients know what they can expect from their dental surgery.
3 Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The MK Dons manager Carl Robinson believes Dele Alli is one of the best young players in the country. Alli scored for the Dons in the 3-1 win against Stevenage on Saturday, and Robinson clearly rates the 17-year-old.
I see him do things in training which things I've never seen in my life before. The kid is one of the best. Winning penalties, scoring goals, backing and things, nutmegging people, driving inside, winning his tackles, winning his headers. What's he not got? He's got an air of arrogance about him, but confidence as well. He's one of the best young English players in the country.
Watford will today begin preparing for their match at Blackburn tomorrow night. The Hornets made its 3 league wins in a row on Saturday after beating Wigan 1-0. Watford are 4th in the Championship. Luis Suarez started a league match for the first time since his 10-match biting ban and scored twice to help Liverpool to a 3-1 win at Sunderland and move up to second place in the Premier League. More from Alan Green.
After a disappointing week, Liverpool looked strong again today amid clear signs that the partnership between Sturridge and Suarez is going to be electric and could see Liverpool hit their target of finishing in a Champions League place. Sturridge scored Liverpool's first. Sunderland argue it came off his arm. Then after an exquisite pass from Gerrard, Sturridge set up Suarez for 2-0. That Sunderland scored 7 minutes after half-time through Giaccherini suggested for a short while an upset. But Suarez from Sturridge again knocked that on the head and Liverpool are up to second.
Golf, and Hertfordshire's Tom Lewis tied for third at the Alfred Dunhill Links Championship. England's David Howell won the event, his first title since 2006. Speaking of his third place, Lewis, who's from Welwyn Garden City, said he was pleased with his final day performance.
You know, yesterday, for instance, I was playing so well I didn't think anything could go wrong. And, you know, today it was nice to have kept a clean sheet with no bogeys, and I think that was really important because I kind of expected to drop a couple. I knew the wind was up and I knew that maybe I'd get a little tight or drop a shot, but it was nice to just hold that putt on the last and have a good chance.
Athletics, and Kenyan Wilson Kipsang broke the marathon world record yesterday by 15 seconds as he claimed the Berlin Marathon. The 31-year-old clocked a time of 2 hours, 3 minutes and 23 seconds to better the previous mark set by compatriot Patrick Maku 2 years ago. There'll be more at 7.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. I do have to I've sent an email confessing that I've vandalised. The lights above my desk aren't working. So I went next door into there are 3 studios here. I'm in Studio 1B, don't read anything into that. Then there's a central studio where the production team would sit. Then there's Studio 1A where JVS does his show. Don't read anything into that. My lights weren't working, so I nicked one from your studio, Catherine, the production studio. Right. So that's fine. When
did you do this? Because I've been in there for quite a while. When did you sneak in and do that?
It was when you were outside having a tab.
Right.
And then
it was a pipe, actually.
And then I went into JVS's studio to try and steal one of his lights.
He won't like that.
No, he won't like it. A, because he's probably paid for those light bulbs himself. He
likes
does.
It just so.
But B, because I've then broken his lighting rig. No, I know, and one of the I was so tempted to say, I looked in JVS's studio, but one of the lights are broken, so I didn't think I was going to touch it. But I'm learning. I want my boys to be honest, and so I'm learning to be honest.
So you still do bad things, but then you say afterwards.
But that's all right, isn't it? Like when I was out with my kids yesterday, and he walloped his older cousin, but he told me he'd walloped his older cousin, so that's fine, isn't it? Isn't it? Have I got that wrong?
It's half fine.
Oh, fine. 08459 455 555. Calling somebody a couple of girls or saying they fight like girls. Is there anything wrong with that, really? You can go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/BBC3CR, and have your say on that. We've also sent out our tactful correspondent, Justin Dealey, who I'm sure will get a sensitive perspective.
This is Justin, who said, I'm going to go and find some ladies and ask them.
I guess it's funnier from where you're standing. 'Cause from over here I miss the joke. Clear the way for my crash landing. I've done it again. Another number for your notes. I'd be smiling if I wasn't so desperate. Be patient if I had the time. I could stop and answer all of your questions as soon as I find out how I can move from the back of the line. I'll be your clown behind the glass. Go ahead and laugh, 'cause it's funny, I would too. If I saw me, I'll be your clown on your favorite channel. My life's a circus, circus, round in circles, setting out tonight. I'd be less angry if it was my decision, and the money was just rolling in. If I had more than my ambition, I'll have time for please, I'll have time for thank you as soon as I win. I'll be your clown behind the glass. Go ahead and laugh, 'cause it's funny, I would too. If I saw, I'll be your clown on your favorite channel. My life's a circus, circus, round in circles, sailing out tonight. From a distance, my choice is simple. From a distance, I can entertain. So you can see me, I put makeup on my face, but there's no way you can feel it from so far away. I'll be your clown behind the glass. Go ahead and laugh, 'cause it's funny, I would too. If I saw me, I'll be your clown on your favorite channel. My life's a circus, circus, round in circles, I'm setting out tonight.
Is she finished? She finished singing? Yeah, sad. It's sad, isn't it?
Sad end.
She, well, kind of. I like Emily Sandé. I don't. She gets a bad press just because she's everywhere. Well, that's her job, isn't it?
It's because people like her. Is that wrong?
Is that right? But then because she's everywhere, people then don't like her. So then she won't be anywhere, and then 10 years later we'll go, where is Emily Sandé? Who?
Adele's just managed to ride that one out, hasn't she? James Blunt fell foul of it.
James Blunt fell very foul of it. He'll never have another hit, however hard
Wet,
he
wet,
tries.
wet. Outstayed the welcome.
Yeah, yeah. He became a heroin addict, didn't he?
Was that before or after?
After, during, and after.
Oh dear.
He refused.
It's very Moorish.
Pello was. It is. It's like a nice cake. Pello was supposed to come on a TV show that I was doing, breakfast TV show that no one was watching, and I made a point of saying on the air one day, "Oh, no one's watching us." No one was. We were getting less viewers than Noddy at one point.
Noddy's good.
And so he cancelled.
Oh, wow.
Pello cancelled. And I was thinking, this is a point in Pello's career when he didn't really have the power to cancel. He shouldn't have been cancelling. Catherine Boyle is here.
Yes, hello.
Well, should we have a look at the front page of the newspapers?
Let's.
Now, the front page of the Telegraph is all about... Well, Sarah Ferguson, I always thought was quite a hottie. If I'm honest, I had a soft spot for Fergie. She's getting back with Prince Andrew. She doesn't look so hottie now.
Well, you know, how old is she?
72 years old.
She is not 72 years old. I think she's all right. She's lived a very outdoorsy lifestyle, hasn't she?
Very horsey, isn't she?
Ski, I thought.
Ski.
More ski than horsey.
Can horses ski?
I wouldn't try it.
Cows can't walk downstairs, can they?
No, but I don't know who found that out.
Exactly. Oh, blimey, my wife's coming home. Quick,
How
get
am I
downstairs.
Explain this?
I can't. Oh, nuts! But the reason... The Telegraph, I don't know if you... The big news this week is there is a new Bridget Jones.
Oh, don't, I know.
Are you a fan of Bridget Jones?
Well, I liked it. Again, it went the way of the Wet, Wet, Wet song, didn't it?
Outside its welcome. But,
yeah.
but fans are in uproar because the Colin Firth is dead. Not the actor Colin Firth, the character. I've never seen it or read it.
Oh, my goodness.
Colin Firth is dead. Mr. Big. No, that's Sex and the City. Mr. Mark Darcy.
Darcy.
He's been killed off, leaving her a widowed mother of two. Now, the way...
Could she?
Is that bad?
Yeah. Mark Darcy's a lovely, sizzling, simmering pot of boiling
the
rage.
way the Telegraph has got almost a third of its stories is just taking people's quotes from Twitter.
Yeah.
Reaction to the news about Mark Darcy yesterday. One fan claimed she was traumatised.
I don't think she meant that, did she?
She wrote on Twitter. Someone wrote on Twitter, I really wanted to read the new Bridget Jones book, but apparently Darcy dies. No way I'll be reading it now.
Well, that'll keep him alive, of course.
Yeah.
Unless he's a fictional character.
Well, someone else has written, people getting upset because the non-existent husband of a fictional character has been killed off. Get alive.
Did they really think that Bridget Jones was going to live happily ever after? That's not a book.
No, it's not. What have you got, Catherine Boyle?
I've got the Daily Mail and a free CD, Ultimate Soothing Classics, except it's not. You have to go to the Tesco's, W.H. Smith, or Eason.
What is this Eason?
I don't know, but it's Vivaldi, The Four Seasons, and it'd be soothing. Pick up litter for your dole. Long-term unemployed would also clean, graffiti or cook for the elderly in the Tory work for benefits crackdown, of which more in the course of this programme.
Well, yeah, let's put this out there. We've kind of mentioned this before. I don't know if I'd want an unemployed person cooking for my nan. Have I just said that out loud?
It's kind of giving them Bob a jobs, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, wait, 459 455 555. We've kind of mentioned this before. It's taking things... So what are they suggesting that unemployed people do?
The benefits will be stripped from the long-term jobless unless they work full-time, picking up litter, removing graffiti or preparing meals for the elderly. How are they supposed to find another job?
Well, there was a lady we played in the news at 6 who was saying, well, you know, it's better for them to be doing this than to be sat at home all the time online looking for work. Well, no, it's not. Is it? Or have I got
that's
that
assuming they are
wrong?
sitting at home watching the internet rather than...
Well, John McCririck, who's lost his job, was in the paper saying that he's watching Jeremy Kyle and Cash in the Attic all day.
But he's got some savings, hasn't he? I don't think we're paying for John McCririck at this point.
I don't think so. 08459 455 555. Are we paying for John McCririck?
Also, Andrew's still my handsome princess, Fergie. They've got an interesting relationship, haven't they? A very French-style relationship. Because I believe they both live in the same house. They're divorced. They live in the same house. They've raised the children together. And they're still... kind of flirty.
I don't think you can't be friends with someone with a divorcee, unless you.
Is it a divorce of convenience? She was sort of hinting that it allowed her to go out to work, and she wouldn't have been able to do that if she'd have stayed with him.
She can never have any credibility. What's the first thing you think of when you think of Fergie?
Weight Watchers.
Daily Express. Hey, the Daily Express have got a pill that beats arthritis pain.
That's that sorted.
This is new treatment cuts crippling agony by 40%. Millions of arthritis patients have been offered new hope as a pill that cuts pain is by up to 40% is planned for wider use. Well, but the Daily Express does get all the health stories.
It finds a lot of cures.
You got time for one more, Catherine?
All right, OK, well, let's go for The Sun. Danny's fling with Simon made my stomach churn, says Sharon Osbourne. That was Sharon Osbourne.
You doing the voice?
I was doing a little bit of a voice there. Anyone would think there was a new series of The X Factor on, and, you know, rumours of a simmering or bubbling relationship that happened a long time ago that no one's going to comment on will always stoke up the figures, won't they?
So she was on the front page the other day because she wants now to divorce the drug-addled Ozzy Osbourne.
She doesn't know.
But was she...
Now she's saying she doesn't want to.
She did, but then she doesn't.
No.
So does she or doesn't she?
I think that it's generally the season for Sharon to say things.
Is Sharon Osbourne really front page news? I know it's because there's a new X Factor on at the moment, which apparently is even more cruel than before. Crueler than before. I can't watch it. But are people really interested in what Sharon Osbourne has to say?
08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
A507, this is the Baldock Road in Buntingford, and it's still closed off after an accident in the early hours. The investigation work is ongoing now, and it's shut at the junction with the A10 at the Vets roundabout. That's been closed since just before 4am. It was a serious accident, and the diversion route is via the Cottage Road through Throcking. It is looking pretty slow around there now, as traffic has to diverse around. M25 anti-clockwise queuing from Waltham Abbey to Enfield, so already getting quite busy into the roadworks section, junction 26 to 25. And further round, traffic's looking heavy from the M1 to Kings Langley, junction 21 to 20. You can also expect a bit of a build-up as you drive into London on the A1 through Boreham Wood from Stirling Corner toward Apex Corner. Certainly on the cameras, it's all starting to look quite slow. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Adam. Morning, it's 6:46. It's Monday, the 30th of September. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. A business school in Milton Keynes is being sued by Harvard University. The founder of the Harvard School of Management and Technology has defended the use of the name, saying she named it after her grandfather. People who claim job seekers allowance for more than 2 years face changes to their unemployment benefits under plans to be announced by the government today. And in sport, Luis Suarez started a league match for the first time since his 10-match biting ban and scored twice to help Liverpool to a 3-1 win at Sunderland. Coming up, the former England and Liverpool player Robbie Fowler has apologised for saying two Premiership footballers behave like a pair of girls. But is that really offensive? Well, we've sent our offensive reporter Justin Dealey out to find out what you think. We'll hear from him before 7. But now let's get the weather. Here's Elizabeth Rizzini.
Beds, Hearts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
To you. Well, it's more of the same actually today, not too different from how we were over the weekend across the three counties. It's going to be a bright and a breezy day today, a bit of a cloudy start, but it's fairly mild. We've got 11 degrees Celsius just outside Woburn and in Bedford at the moment, 12 degrees Celsius here. So temperatures rising nicely. We will see a bit of brightness develop a bit later on through the morning, perhaps even some sunny spells. I think the sunny spells always best over parts of Hertfordshire as we head into this afternoon, and that's probably where we'll see the best of the temperatures as well. We're all the way up to 18 or 19 degrees Celsius, 66 in Fahrenheit. So staying dry, a good few sunny spells, but it will be rather breezy, a fairly brisk old southeasterly wind. Overnight tonight, it's more of the same. Temperatures dropping to 11 or 12 degrees Celsius. Quite a lot of cloud around. Still staying quite windy overnight too. And then tomorrow morning, again, bright and breezy through the course of the day. Mostly dry, perhaps a few outbreaks of drizzle just over the tops of the hills across parts of Buckinghamshire perhaps. But that'll be it really in terms of wet weather. We might just see a few showers on Wednesday, some heavy rain by Thursday, but until then, mostly dry with quite a lot of brightness around. That's the forecast, Iain.
On Inside Out East, the machines that can lose you a fortune in moments. Is it time to banish them from our high streets? And the return of the otter is a conservation success story. So why do some people now say culling them is the only way to save other wildlife in our rivers?
The otters are now eating their way through all the big fish, and we're not going to have anything left before very long.
Inside Out East, tonight, 7:30 on BBC One.
I should just flag up, by the way, that's Inside Out East. If you get London Inside Out, I pop up on there tonight. I'm in a very bizarre museum where there are lots of body parts, including rude body parts, in jars. It's a horrific place. I was there with the woman who runs it, and she said, "Oh, don't look at that shelf." So, of course, when someone says, "Don't look at that shelf," and is pointing, you look at that shelf. It was a huge jar. Have a guess what was in that jar, Catherine?
Eyeballs.
A baby's face.
What?
A baby's face. Yeah, I know. That's Inside Out London tonight with me.
I'm gonna do all the things for you a girl wants a man to do. Oh, baby. I'll sacrifice for you. I'll even do wrong for you. Oh, baby. Every minute, every hour, I'm gonna shower you with love and affection. Look out, it's coming in your direction. And I'm gonna make you love me. Oh, yes, I will. Yes, I will. I'm gonna make you love me. Oh, yes, I will. Yes, I will.
Look ahead, my love is strong, you see. I know you'll never get tired of me. Oh, baby.
So, baby.
And I'm gonna use every trick in the book. I'll try my best to get you hooked. Hey, baby.
Take me, I'm yours.
And every night, every day, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna get you. Look out, boy, 'cause I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna make you love me. Ooh, yes, I will. Yes, I will. And I'm gonna make you love me. Ooh, yes, I will. You know I will. Every breath I take, and each and every step I make, brings me closer, baby, closer to you.
And with each beat of my heart, for every day we apart, I'll hunger for every wasted hour.
And every night and every day, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna get you. Look out, 'cause I'm gonna get you. And I'm gonna make you love me. Oh, oh, I'm gonna make you love me. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. Come on and love me. I'm gonna make you love me. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. Come on and love me. Gonna make you love.
Now, this story was in some of the papers over the weekend, but the Daily Mail have gone with it today, so I thought we'd have a look at it. I need your opinion on this. I'll give you the phone number in a bit. The former England and Liverpool player, Robbie Fowler, has apologised for saying two Premiership footballers behaved like a pair of girls. Are you offended by that? Behaved like a pair of girls. 08459 455 555. Fowler was discussing a series of scuffles involving Fernando Torres and Jan Vertonghen during Saturday's BBC Sport programme Final Score. Well, Justin Dealey is our women's liberation correspondent. Justin, whereabouts are you?
Ian, good morning. I'm in Luton. I just find this story absolutely ridiculous. I'm sorry, but it's stupid. Absolutely stupid.
You think there's nothing wrong with saying someone's behaving or playing or fighting like a bunch of girls?
No, I don't. And this morning, people I've been talking to pretty much say the same thing. Got some comments to come in a second. Roland is with me live here in Luton on our radio car. You're reading the story and your face just says it all. You think it's ridiculous, don't you?
Yep. Why do we have to keep apologising for football terminology? Because the spectators say that, even for their own teams, they're playing like girls.
But we're blokes, though. Surely some people may find those comments sexist.
But they're the wrong people, aren't they? They're the people just looking for trouble. Do-gooders, or are they good doers?
Whatever they are, you don't believe in them?
No,
okay.
no.
So the fact he was there on Saturday making these comments and then he has to apologise on the TV show, if you were watching that, would you have switched that off?
It'd have turned me off. I don't know about switch me off. It would have definitely turned me off. Why? Life's going mad. We've got people with jobs with us. That's all they are. People who phone up and complain. Got nothing better to do.
Thank you very much indeed for your time. There you go, that's Roland talking to us live. So there you go, Ian, some views there. And I've already been out onto the streets this morning, bright and early, finding out what people think about Robbie Fowler and his comments, and here's what people had to say.
Not really, no.
Should he have apologised?
Not particularly, no.
Can you tell us why?
Well, what was sexist about it's just a saying, isn't it? It's an expression that people use about how girls fight. So,
Well, do you think it's ridiculous we're even having this conversation right now? But be honest.
Yes.
Yes. Here's a Luton Town fan. Good start. Robbie Fowler saying sorry for his comments, saying that Torres was fighting like a girl. Do you think that's sexist?
Me personally, no, I don't think it's too sexist, but you can't really say stuff like that nowadays, can you? You can't really get away with it.
Should he have had to have made that apology? I mean, at the end of the day, it's a TV programme. He thought he was making a fair comment. Should he have had to apologise?
Yeah, because there's young people watching it as well, and when people grow up, they don't want to be hearing that type of thing on TV. I think it was right to apologise, because you sort of have to, but you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't find nothing wrong with it, personally.
OK, Justin.
Yes.
Can I pick you up on something?
Yeah, go for it.
You only spoke to gentlemen there.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. And the reason being is because the women I've spoken to this morning have got absolutely no interest in football whatsoever and don't wish to make a comment.
Football isn't the story, though.
Mm-hmm.
The story is, are you offended by someone saying you're acting like a girl?
Well,
so the story isn't football.
No, you'll hear some women a bit later on, but the women I've spoke to this morning just laughed at me.
Now,
it's stupid.
We're being produced by Catherine Boyle today. Yeah. I'd like to bring her into the conversation. Catherine, you've got strong views on this, haven't you?
I do, because I think that you've asked blokes there, and as they said, in their own words, it's just a saying. Well, the fact that it's just a saying and it's become so deeply entrenched that it's okay to sort of talk about throwing like a girl, running like a girl, crying like a girl. They're all derogatory things, aren't they? They're all saying a man is less of a man.
Deary me.
By comparing him to a woman.
No. I think
That's
it's
exactly
just,
what it
it's
is,
just
Justin, so
harmless
that's okay,
banter.
is it?
No, it's harmless banter. You know, you may say on the flip side to that, you may say, oh, you're drinking so much, you're drinking like a bloke, or if you're not
No,
particularly
I
well,
would never say that.
you're acting like a man. You know,
Who
these
says
things.
that, Justin?
No, but these things happen. You know, you've got to
don't
draw
know.
the line. No, they do, and I think
Who
you know,
says drinking like a man?
well, some of your friends may say
The
that.
phrase is drinking like a fish.
Okay, you may make derogatory comments towards men. You know, are we all going to stand around saying you must make an apology?
haven't
What is the
become
world
part-
coming
they
to
haven't
when you
become
can't
part-
make a
One
harmless
at a time.
comment?
I
A
didn't
harmless
think, I didn't think I'd be separating two professionals.
No, but I'm just saying it's
Justin,
stupid.
Justin, Catherine Stone. Catherine, please
They haven't
respond.
become part of the everyday talk, though, have they? It hasn't become a saying.
Language has evolved, hasn't it, Justin? 20 years ago, I could say to you, oh, that report was really gay. I couldn't say it now, could I? Because the language has evolved, and what is deemed offensive has evolved. So shouldn't we be doing that in terms of girls and women?
I tell you what, then. I tell you what, and I'll have a wager on this with you right now. I bet you 10 quid that you don't
Am I
get...
including this, or is it just for the boys?
No, you can join in as well.
All right, thanks.
If your husband gives it the thumbs up.
Girls do that as well. You will not find one woman listening to your programme this morning who would be offended by these comments. What you're going to get is a small minority of people that are complaining just because they don't like the BBC, and they'll jump on the bandwagon and they will complain about anything.
Okay,
The fact that this has got so much publicity, and the fact he was forced to apologise, I think is just
All right,
disgraceful.
Justin, let Catherine
Do you know
respond.
what? I find it less offensive than just a stupid thing to say, because it doesn't mean anything, but fine. Okay,
I tell you
we'll
what,
find out whether there's
okay.
a woman out there who agrees with me.
Justin, you've laid a change. I'm going to step out of this bet. This bet is between you, Justin, and Catherine, if that's okay. Bet of £10. Can we find anybody who is genuinely, and I'll be able to tell if you're telling a porcupine, who is genuinely offended by Robbie Fowler's comments describing two footballers saying they were fighting like girls? Do you find that offensive? 08459 455 555. You think it's just a bit of harmless banter, do you, Justin?
It is. I think it's harmless banter. You know, I think, you know, that these sort of comments go around, you know, from men and women. It's just a harmless throwaway comment. The fact that he was forced to apologise, I just find absolutely incredible.
Justin, thank you very much. Well, do you find... Don't just phone up because you want to see Dealey down a tenner, all right? Do you find those comments by Robbie Fowler offensive, describing two footballers? OK, yes, there is a problem with my microphone. It's very quiet. I don't know why. It is turned up to the max. We need to get Ollie to come in here and fix the studio. 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Baldock Road in Buntingford, the A507, it remains closed both ways following an accident in the early hours. The investigation work is happening now, and it's shut at the Vets roundabout, which is the junction with the A10 and the turning for Baldock. That's still looking rather slow in the area as traffic has to divert, which is the Cottage Road through Throcking. That's the official diversion there by the police. A1M southbound, slow moving at Junction 7 Stevenage. If you're going into London, the A1 is pretty slow through Boreham Wood. Again southbound, Stirling Corner to Mill Hill Circus. The M1 is looking slow from Dunstable toward Hemel Hempstead. So from Junction 11 through toward Junction 7. It's a pretty stop-start on that whole stretch. M25 anti-clockwise queuing Waltham Abbey to Enfield into the roadworks, and from the M1 to Kings Langley as well. Trains and tubes, though, running nicely. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much, Adam. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Are you offended by Robbie Fowler's comments describing two footballers fighting like girls? Speak to you after the news with Richard.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning, it's 7 o'clock. I'm Richard Williams. The headlines: American University to sue Milton Keynes Business School. Long-term unemployed face changes to benefits, and dental complaints rising in the three counties.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The business school in Milton Keynes, which is being sued by a university in America with a similar name, is itself claiming £2 million in a counterclaim. The Harvard School of Management and Technology is seeking the money from the Harvard University in case it has to change its name. The American university is seeking an injunction and damages over alleged trademark infringement. Tony Fisher has more.
The founder of the Harvard School of Management and Technology says she named it after her grandfather. At a preliminary hearing at the High Court, the US university claimed there was evidence of confusion between the two. Harvard denies the allegation and issued a counterclaim, which the founder has told us is for £2 million. A full hearing will be heard next February.
The Chancellor, George Osborne, will today set out plans to change unemployment benefit. They'll affect claimants who've been through the government's work programme but are still without a job. Chris Mason has more.
The Help to Work scheme, as it will be known, will give the long-term unemployed three options: to do work placement, such as cleaning up litter, or turn up at a job centre every day, or take part in compulsory training to, for instance, improve their literacy. Those finding themselves on the programme would remain on it until they found a job. Breaking the rules would cost them 4 weeks' worth of benefits. A second breach, 3 months' worth. Labour said the idea was proof the work programme set up by the coalition 2 years ago had failed.
The number of complaints about dentists is increasing across the 3 counties as part of a 44% rise nationally. Now the General Dental Council has issued new guidance to help patients know what they can expect from their dental surgery. Daphne Powell from Milton Keynes told Iain earlier what happened when she had a denture fitted.
The gums started to shrink and the roots started to come through. So I was trying to chew with a mouthful of roots and a denture. Oh, it was horrific. It was horrific. I can't tell you how painful it was. I couldn't eat for months.
A public consultation into cuts totalling £17 million at Bedford Borough Council closes today. The authority says it's targeting bureaucracy and back office costs in order to protect frontline services. Overall, it needs to make a £37 million reduction in spending by 2019. In sport, Luis Suarez started a league match for the first time since his 10-match biting ban and scored twice to help Liverpool to a 3-1 win at Sunderland. In League One yesterday, Coventry lost 2-0 at home to Brentford. And your weather for Beds, Herts and Bucks, it will be mainly dry today with a small chance of patchy rain, some sunny spells this afternoon. There'll be a top temperature of 17 degrees Celsius, that's 63 degrees Fahrenheit. And don't forget, you can get all your latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC 3 Counties Radio, 08459 455 555. Apparently my microphone's quite quiet. There's nothing I can do about that, I'm afraid. I don't know what's going on. I'll just shout. Shall I shout? I don't think that works like that, does it? Lots coming up on the show between now and 8 o'clock, including the American university giant Harvard squares up to Milton Keynes pipsqueak Harvard. Harvard says the little fella's... Harvard says the little fella is trying to steal its glory. Well, is Harvard trying it on? Complaints against dentists are up. Are you one of the many dissatisfied customers, or do you just avoid the dentist altogether? And this Robbie Fowler story really is kicking off. He described a fight between two players as them fighting like girls. Well, does that kind of language offend you? Can we find somebody who is offended before the end of the show? There is £10 riding on it. Facebook.com/BBC3CR. You can send me a text, 81333, start your text 3CR. Or you can give me a phone call, 08459 455 555.
Across Beds, Herts and Bucks.
This is BBC 3 Counties Radio.
It's been suggested by Jonathan Vernon-Smith, I wiggle my fader like this. Vash! Is that literally no... Is that working better? Does that sound better? Who knows? 08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. And if anybody knows how to fix a radio studio, then that would be wonderful news. Do please get in touch and let us know what to do to fix a radio studio. Now, it's emerged that the business school in Milton Keynes, which is being sued by a university in America with a similar name, is itself claiming £2 million in a counterclaim. The Harvard School of Management and Technology is seeking the money from Harvard University in case it has to change its name. Well, the American university is seeking an injunction and damages over alleged trademark infringement. The founder of the business school in Milton Keynes, Reverend Dr. Tina Beloved Powerful, LLM, LLB, MBA, BA, POD, SOD, joins me in the studio, as well as the Reverend Dr. Emmanuel Powerful, who is the registrar of the university. Dr. Emmanuel, you've not got so many letters after your name. Is that are you jealous there? That must be disappointing.
Oh, no, I'm not.
But, Tina, what do all those letters mean? That's a lot of letters. Yes. LLM, LLB, MBA, LLCJ, BA, POD, SOD. What do they all mean?
Yeah, LL starts one by one, then I can... LLM, Master of Laws.
Okay. MBA.
LLB, you've not...
Oh, I've missed out LLB, yes.
Bachelor of Laws.
MBA.
Master in Business Administration.
BA.
Bachelor of Arts in English Language.
POD.
Postgraduate Diploma in School of Discipleship. Oh.
SOD. School of Discipleship. Okay, right, that's a lot of letters.
Yes.
Now, you trained as... let's get to the heart of this. Am I pronouncing your school properly? Harvard?
Yes, please, Harvard.
Harvard?
Yes.
Harvard?
Yes.
Harvard does sound very similar to Harvard. Why did you choose such a similar name?
Well, my grandfather... My paternal, when you talk about grandfather, we know you have two,
Yes.
We have is that from maternal
yes.
or paternal. This time around is my paternal grandfather's first name is Harvard. So, because I'm so close with, to him before he died, and he left a good name as a legacy to us, then I chose to immortalize his name.
So you choosing it partly to immortalise your grandfather's name, which is a wonderful thing to do, but also maybe to kind of cash in on Harvard?
Not at all.
No.
I never thought about Harvard. I never even remembered them and all that. So I am in United Kingdom, so Harvard in America has nothing to do with the name.
When did you first find out that Harvard in America were unhappy with you?
That was on the in August, 2012.
Right.
When they wrote a letter to me, to us, stating that we have infringed, on their copyright. So my initial reaction was like Harvard all the way, about 3,000, about over 3,000 miles away, having infringement, talking about copyright infringement. So I was taken aback. And all that.
Emmanuel, when you saw the letter, what was your reaction?
When I saw the letter, I was mad because the two names are not the same.
There's one letter difference, isn't it? It's the R, the first R, Harvard and Harvard.
Yes, there's one letter difference. Yeah. And you cannot tell me under the copyright law that this is a copy of this because they're not the same. There's one R missing. So I was mad and I said, what kind of a thing is this? This is just bullying. They are trying to intimidate us and it is wrong. We have the right to offer education here in the United Kingdom. We are doing a good job and the public love what we are doing.
The R's can get you in so much trouble sometimes, as it obviously got you in trouble here. What are you teaching at your school?
I'm teaching biblical studies.
Right.
Yes.
So it's not even infringing on the same territory.
It's not at all.
As Harvard in the United States.
At all.
So, Tina, you got the letter. Obviously shock. What did you do then?
Well, of course, I replied them. Yes, I replied to the solicitor because they got a solicitor by Ken, Clean Solicitors. So I replied to refute their claims, their allegations.
And the case is still continuing. They're still proceeding to sue you. Is that correct?
Yes, please.
And but you've now set up a counter claim for £2 million.
Yes.
What's that for?
Well, I see. If they are like crazy or value the name so much, I mean the Harvard, as it were, and they really want us to give up the name to them, then because we need to prove beyond based on balance of probabilities that that we are infringing on their right. So what we're saying in essence is that if Companies House, who is the custodian of companies here in United Kingdom, in England and Wales to be more precise, that if they have allowed us or incorporated us to use the name, and that if they have done that in error, because they, Harvard University America is saying that they have their presence in United Kingdom, so what we are then saying, writing to say to them is that we have not infringed on their copyright, and that if peradventure the Companies House, said that probably they've allowed us to operate or to use that name in error, that they should not just wish it away, because we have expended a lot of money,
of course,
in advertising.
How many students do you have?
Well, at the moment, I would not want to discuss that because the case is in court.
Okay.
For now. And
but is it 50? Is it 100?
We have quite a lot of all over the world, because we have online students and we have classroom students.
So how many roughly?
So we do not want to say that for now.
Can I ask why you wouldn't want to say how many? Because I would have thought that a thriving school would be proud to say how many students it has.
That's what I'm saying, that at the moment, for purposes of,
okay.
Yes, I would not want to.
Now, Tina and Emmanuel, you both seem like very nice, decent Christian people. Wouldn't it just be easier just to change the name of the school, call it the Beloved School or something like that? Wouldn't it be easier to do that?
That's just what you're saying, because we're Christians, we're children of the Most High God. We love peace, we love unity.
Yes.
So that's why we are, because my grandfather left a good name as a legacy to us, and we do know that a good name is better than silver and gold. And having said that, that's why
you still want 2 million.
That's why we're telling them that we want to step aside. But again, we started since year 2010. We've expended money in advertising, marketing, productions, producing stationeries.
In defence, I have to be vaguely impartial. In defence, Harvard has been going since 1683. I think. So it's been going a little bit longer. Than your 3 years.
Okay.
So do you not think maybe you should just...
That's it. That's a very good question that you're just asking now. But again, that the grey hair of Methuselah has nothing to do with the wisdom of King Solomon.
Yes, that's
so because that they have been there for ages does not mean that they should now, clamp on a younger one growing. Just like I said earlier, that the life of that is who determines whether the life of a father is more important than the life of a son, because both of them need to thrive hand by hand.
We're running out of time, and are you confident you're going to win this?
By the grace of God. By the special grace of God, yes.
One final thing, on your website it says of Milton Keynes, the atmosphere generally nibbles and recommends itself to our noble senses. What does that mean? That's an interesting line.
Yes, because when Milton Keynes is very peaceful. I studied at University of Buckingham, and that's where I obtained my first degree in, my Bachelor of Laws and Masters of Laws. And in fact, I was the overall best award winner in the law of jurisprudence. Having said that, the place is so peaceful and so accommodating. The people are so loving. And there's peace. There's peace. Yes, in the environment.
Listen, we're out of time. It's very nice to meet you, Reverend Dr. Tina Beloved Powerful. I won't say all of the letters after your name, and Reverend Dr. Emmanuel Powerful. I've just been told you might want to check your website. I think the word school is misspelt on the website, so maybe get your web designer just to have a little look over that. We'll be following this story very closely. And thank you very much for what's this? You're giving me something.
So we're in fact having our graduation ceremony. We're graduating some of our students. So if you want to know more about the students, that's on the 12th of October.
Okay.
12th of October You know,
Thank you. I'm busy then, but I will pass this on to one of my team.
Okay.
I've been invited to the maiden graduation ceremony in Bible Studies and Transformational Leadership. Thank you very much for coming in. Best
And
of
God
luck to
bless
both
you.
of Thank
Thank you very
And
much.
God bless both of
God
you.
bless you. Yes.
Thank you. 08459 455 555. It's BBC Three Counties Radio. 7:15. Let's get the travel news now. Here's Adam.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The A507 in Buntingford still shut off. This is the Baldock Road and it's closed at the junction with the Vets roundabout at the 8:10 after a serious accident around 4 a.m. The accident investigation work continues. Traffic is diverting via Cottage Road through Throcking and it is looking rather busy. The M1 southbound slow moving on the cameras from junction 11 at the A505 toward junction 7 at Hemel Hempstead. The A1M is looking quite slow this morning, mainly past Stevenage at junction 7, and then into London there are A1 delays with traffic building up in Boreham Wood, Stirling Corner through to Mill Hill Circus on the cameras. M25 anti-clockwise queuing now from back at the M11 through past Enfield into the roadworks. It's also busy from the M1 to Kings Langley and from Chorleywood down to the M40. If you're getting on the M40 though, it's a pretty clear run, both London bound and heading off toward Oxford and beyond. Trains and tubes running well. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Adam, thank you very much indeed. Before we get to the news headlines, look at the sight I can see. Jonathan Vernon-Smith climbing on a desk to fix a light that I broke, and I know he's muttering and swearing to himself, as he has every right to do. JVS, I can only offer you my sincerest apologies, and I wish you peace. 7:16. It's Monday the 30th of September. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. The founder of a Milton Keynes business school has told BBC Three Counties she wanted to immortalise her grandfather when calling her business Havard. She now faces being sued by Harvard University. The Chancellor, George Osborne, will today set out plans to change unemployment benefit. They'll affect claimants who've been through the government's work programme but are still without a job. In sport, Luis Suarez started a league match for the first time since his 10-match biting ban and scored twice to help Liverpool to a 3-1 win at Sunderland. The weather, it'll be mainly dry today with a small chance of patchy rain, some sunny spells this afternoon. Coming up, well, why don't you stay tuned and find out?
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Every weekday from 12, Nick Coffer brings you...
30 years ago, Doug Moody set up the Greenbank Music School in Luton with a philosophy that music should be fun.
It was getting other people involved, just doing everything. I'm just a person that just loves to do things.
Nick Coffer.
EOS have decided that for their September show, they'll be performing their version of the Tony Award-winning musical Rent.
525,600 minutes.
Quirkology follows the clumsy, endearing life of Rupert Quirk.
A lot of people have actually said, you know, he's just an exaggerated version of himself.
Nick Coffer, weekdays from 12 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now, do you have every confidence in your dentist, or does the mere thought of getting your teeth seen to send a shiver down your spine? Well, there's been a 44% increase in the number of complaints about dentists, prompting the General Dental Council to issue new guidance to help patients know what they can expect at their dental surgery. Well, I'm joined by Harpenden dentist Dan Schaffer in the studio. Good morning, Dan.
Good morning, Ian. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. We've met before. You examined my teeth live
That's
on air.
right.
We didn't get nominated for a Sony because of that. I don't know why. No examinations today. More complaints about dentists. Is that because more dentists are making mistakes, or because we're just more aware of our rights?
Well, if you look at the literature worldwide, globally, over the years, in the past 30 years, the number of errors that dentists have made hasn't changed. It runs at about 2 to 3% of all procedures that dentists and doctors do that have some kind of problem. But in short, if you're a doctor or a dentist that does make a mistake, you're unlikely to get into trouble for it. And if you get into trouble for something, you're unlikely to have made a mistake, and that's what the literature shows.
What do you mean you're unlikely to get into trouble if you've made a mistake?
Well, people get into trouble for more communication issues, lack of explanations, not communicating with their patients properly. Let's say, for instance, Ian, you've got a problem with the tooth, you go to your dentist and you need a root canal done. That's taking the nerve out of the tooth and settling it down. Now, of that procedure, you've probably got a 70% chance of getting success. And it's very difficult for the dentist sometimes to communicate that with the patient, and for the patient to understand that information and then make a decision, because we champion autonomy, and autonomy within our patient groups is very, very important for doctors and dentists. It's not like the same dusty white coats of yesteryear when we say, right, your leg needs to come off, and then we chop it off. It's that we give patients
dentists
options.
don't do that, do they?
Well, hopefully not.
No, okay, that would be worthy of
probably chop your teeth off rather than your legs.
Is it? Are more complaints coming towards NHS dentists or private dentists?
There's two separate ways to complain if you do have a complaint, and there's the private complaint service, and then there's the NHS complaint service. The NHS complaint service gets a lot more complaints than the private service. The private service has I think it's on average 7 days to clear a complaint, and they do very, very well with that in a short time scale and gets everything resolved. The NHS complaint service does take a bit longer.
And what kind of thing are people complaining about? What are some examples?
The full range, really. I mean, from the nightmare scenario of I've had the wrong tooth taken out to a filling that's broken. On the NHS, it does tend to be that people that they resent paying the kind of money that they're being charged nowadays. It used to be that you could only pay maximum £1 for your NHS dental treatment when it first came in. Now you might pay up to a couple of £100, and it seems rather expensive, so people do complain about it. They want their money's worth, which is fair enough.
But still cheaper than going to a private dentist, where I would imagine 200 quid's worth of NHS treatment would cost you a few grand, wouldn't it?
It can do, and it might not. I mean, in my surgery in Harpenden, we have we test our prices against the average for the area, and we stick to average prices, so we're not over the top.
I chipped a tooth. I fell off a stage dancing, don't ask. And I went to a private dentist for a quote, because I wasn't going to pay for it. It was going to be covered by someone else. And they wanted, I think, £4,000. Mm-hmm. I went to an NHS dentist. He charged me 49 quid. I thought, well, even though I wasn't paying, I thought, I'll go for that one. I'll have that.
Well, the NHS is there to provide a basic level of dental cover. So let's say, for instance, you've got a gap. Let's say, unfortunately, your dancing wasn't up to much. You fell off the stage and you lost a tooth and you had a gap in the front of your mouth that you didn't really like. You could go to an NHS dentist and they could offer you a very simple solution. You could have a removable plastic denture. And you might think, well, I don't really want a denture. In which case, that's the only option you're offered on the NHS. You go to a private dentist, you can get offered perhaps a more expensive option, but also a better option, which would be having an implant or having a bridge that wouldn't be available on the NHS. So it does open up your treatment options.
Are there rogue dentists? We spoke to a lady earlier on in the show who had all of her top teeth taken out when she only wanted a bridge, and she was in agony. She went to sue that dentist, but that dentist had scarpered off to South Africa. I've heard similar stories on Jonathan's show as well in the Consumer Hour. Are there kind of slightly rogue, dodgy dentists around?
There are, just like in any other profession, in any other walk of life, there are people who are dishonest. It's a very, very small percentage in dentistry, because to get into dentistry and medicine, you're probably going to be an ethical person. But yes, there are rogue dentists, and the General Dental Council does a lot, and medical protection as well, dental protection limited included, to counter the rogue dentistry culture.
The General Dental Council are aiming to give patients a better understanding of what they can expect. How are they going to do that, and do you welcome that move?
Well, the guidelines for dentists have changed this year, and I won't go into too much detail about it because you might get bored. But you're talking about rogue dentists. The centre of the guidelines for dentists are ethics. Okay, respect patient autonomy, give them choices, be honest, etc. All those basic ethical principles come into dentistry, and dentists are supposed to be concentrating on that.
What pressures are dentists under? Do you get enough? Is there like a union for dentists? How does it work?
There is. Well, you can belong to the British Dental Association. Every single dentist is registered who's allowed to work in this country with the General Dental Council.
And do you get much support if you do get a complaint about you? Do you get support from them? Do you get backup?
Yeah, it's mandatory to belong to a protection society. So medical protection, dental protection would be one, and the Dental Defence Union would be another. There's a couple of other smaller ones as well. And when and if you have any trouble at all, you phone them up, and you do have support through the process, which is a very complicated process and very in-depth, and they take patient complaints very, very seriously as well.
Dan, when I floss between my teeth, why does my sink look like a bloodbath?
Well, it can be that you've got irritated gums. When's the last time you had a scale and polish?
Oh, now this is how you guys do it. You go and see the dentist. You say, yeah, they're looking good. I think you should probably go and see the hygienist. Ka-ching!
Well, that's not where dentists make the money from, actually.
Is it not?
But it's probably the best investment you can make in your mouth is the regular stuff that you do at the dental surgery.
The best investment you can make. I haven't been to the dentist for a year. I tell you, and I normally go very regularly.
You were going to come and see me, but I never heard from you.
Well, yeah. But I've moved, and I'm quite nervous. This is a good point, maybe. I'm quite nervous about going to the local dentist and going in and saying I want to be... Can you just walk in and be an NHS patient? Because there are rules about how many they have to take, aren't there?
Well, there's not many how many they have to take. NHS dentists are issued a contract for a volume of work they carry out, and it doesn't go like it used to pre-2006 on the volume of patients. Now it's the volume of work that they do. So if they've got capacity to take NHS patients, then they will take on NHS patients. They're not going to refuse you. So if you do walk in, I think the most important thing is have a trusting relationship with your dentist.
Yep.
So, you know, if I want to find a dentist, for instance, I'll go to a colleague that I trust and I'll ask them their opinion, they'll give me their opinion and I'll go with it. And I think that people should be doing that as well.
Dan, nice to see you again. Thank you very much.
That's okay. If people have got any other questions or problems at all, I'm at the Riverside Shopping Centre in Hemel. We're setting up a stall actually today and for the next couple of days, so they can come and see me there. We're giving out free balloons.
Oh, there's balloons?
And sugar-free lollipops.
Oh, I'm not interested in that sugar-free nonsense. If I'm going to eat sweets, I want it to be really bad for me, Dan. I want to hear it rot in my teeth. Dan, thank you very much indeed. Dan Schaffer, Harpenden Dentist.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio. If you want to give us a call, 08459 455 555. Should we have a quick look at the front pages of the newspaper? Let's grab these, shall we? Let's have a little look here. By the way, Dan, you need to get better magazines in dentist surgeries.
Oh, we've got a fantastic range in our surgery.
You reckon? Are they from this year?
They are current. They're kept up to date every single month.
Good. OK, well done you, Dan. Thank you very much. Let's have a look at the front pages. The Times. Kick ass. You can say that because it's an American. The actress Natalie Portman has attacked big-budget Hollywood films for ignoring the subtleties of feminism with macho characters. Oh, dear. Really? Tories and UKIP can strike deal, says Farage. Nick Farage clears the way today. Hang on a second. Nick Farage is boring. I see a far more interesting story to the right of this newspaper. Hundreds of drunk under-11s go to A&E. Wowzers. Hundreds of primary school-aged children were admitted to accident and emergency departments for alcohol-related problems last year, it's been revealed. The 293 admissions, up by a third on 2011, came after a year in which more than 6,500 under-18s were taken to hospital as a consequence of drinking. Boozy children! Let's have a look here. The Guardian. Cockney... what do they call the Pearly Kings and Queens? What's that all about? I never got the Pearly Kings and Queens. It always strikes me as vaguely uncomfortable. Anyway, there's a picture of them on the front. I don't know why, and I'm not going to read the story, but Osborne tells jobless to work for benefits. Daily job centre visits are part of Chancellor's plan to cut welfare bills. George Osborne will continue the government's push to reduce welfare spending by announcing a nationwide scheme today to force 200,000 long-term unemployed benefit claimants to either undertake community work, attend a job centre every day. Ever been to a job centre? Those are soulless places. Or go on a full-time intensive programme to tackle the underlying reasons for their failure to find work. I would suggest that the majority of the underlying reasons are there are no jobs. I don't know. Call me quirky, but that's how I view it. 08459 455 555. Let's have the travel, then the news, and when we come back, you may be able to hear me.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Buntingford and the A507, the Baldock Road, still closed for accident investigation work after a serious accident in the early hours. It is closed at the Vets roundabout. This is the junction with the A10 and the Baldock Road, the B1038. The diversion is traffic being sent through Cottage Road. That goes through Throcking, and it's a little bit slow now in the area as a result. M1 still looking a little bit patchy with slow-moving traffic on the southbound side. Looking at the cameras and the sensors, mainly from junction 11 at the A505 towards 7 at Hemel Hempstead. M25 looking busy anti-clockwise as you go into the roadwork section. Delays start back in Essex now at the M11. And from there through past Enfield you can expect the queues. As you continue round, junction 21 at the M1 round to Kings Langley at junction 20 is busy, and Chorleywood to the M40. A1M, now that's slow round Stevenage at junction 7. You've also got a delay further back up the A1 coming down to the Black Cat roundabout from the St Neots junction, and then further down into London you've got stop-start traffic through Boreham Wood from Stirling Corner to Mill Hill Circus. On the train departure boards, things still looking good. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7:30, the headlines. I'm Richard Williams. The founder of the Harvard School of Management and Technology in Milton Keynes has told BBC Three Counties she named it after her grandfather. The Reverend Dr. Tina Beloved Powell is now being sued by Harvard University in America over alleged trademark infringement. The Chancellor George Osborne will today set out plans to change unemployment benefit. They'll affect claimants who've been through the government's work programme but are still without a job. The long-term unemployed will have to accept work placements or attend the job centre every day or take part in compulsory training to keep their job seekers' allowance. And the number of complaints about dentists is increasing across the three counties as part of a 44% rise nationally. The increase has prompted the General Dental Council to issue new guidance to patients to know what they can expect from the dental surgery.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The Milton Keynes Dons manager Carl Robinson believes Dele Alli is one of the best young players in the country. Alli scored for the Dons in the 3-1 win against Stevenage on Saturday, and Robinson clearly rates the 17-year-old.
I see him do things in training which things I've never seen in my life before. The kid is one of the best. Winning penalties, scoring goals, backing and things, nutmegging people, driving inside, winning his tackles, winning his headers. What's he not got? He's got an air of arrogance about him, but confidence as well. He's one of the best young English players in the country.
Watford will today begin preparing for their match at Blackburn tomorrow night. The Hornets made it 3 league wins in a row on Saturday, beating Wigan 1-0. Watford are now 4th in the Championship. Luis Suarez started a league match for the first time since his 10-match biting ban and scored twice to help Liverpool to a 3-1 win at Sunderland. It now moves Liverpool up to second in the Premier League. More from Alan Green.
After a disappointing week, Liverpool looked strong again today amid clear signs that the partnership between Sturridge and Suarez is going to be electric and could see Liverpool hit their target of finishing in a Champions League place. Sturridge scored Liverpool's first. Sunderland argue it came off his arm. Then after an exquisite pass from Gerrard, Sturridge set up Suarez for 2-0. That Sunderland scored 7 minutes after half-time through Giaccherini suggested for a short while an upset. But Suarez from Sturridge again knocked that on the head, and Liverpool are up to second.
Golf, and Hertfordshire's Tom Lewis tied for third at the Alfred Dunhill Links Championship. England's David Howe won the event, his first title since 2006. And speaking of his third place, Lewis, who's from Welwyn Garden City, said he was pleased with his final day performance.
You know, yesterday, for instance, I was playing so well I didn't think anything could go wrong. And, you know, today it was nice to have kept a clean sheet with no bogeys, and I think that was really important because I kind of expected to drop a couple. I knew the wind was up and I knew that maybe I'd get a little tight or drop a shot, but you know, it was nice to just hold that putt on the last and have a good chance.
Finally, athletics, and Kenyan Wilson Kipsang broke the marathon world record yesterday by 15 seconds as he claimed the Berlin Marathon. The 31-year-old clocked a time of 2 hours, 3 minutes and 23 seconds to better the previous mark set by compatriot Patrick Maku 2 years ago. There's more at 7.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. You should be able to hear me. I can't hear me, though. What's the odds of finding a pair of headphones in a BBC studio that work? Anyone? Let's try those ones, Ollie. We've not tried those, so let's give those a go. Those are completely one-legged and not coming out of... yeah, this is exciting, isn't it? Let's try these. Let's see. No, I think the studio's set up in a very different, slightly odd way. What fun! This is the unique way that you're. No. Try that. No. Can't hear a thing. Can't hear a blooming thing. Right. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. Although I would suggest you don't call now, as I literally cannot hear anything at all. Right. Let's go to some Facebook comments, shall we? You can go to facebook.com/BBC3CR. And you can hear another set of headphones being tossed away by my team. Any joy, Ollie? So the studio is set up in a different way. That's what it is. There's an obvious thing here. It's set up slightly differently, and none of us know. Is it there? Is that working?
No, it's not that.
Is it that?
No. It's
Oh
BFL.
God! Does anyone know how to do radio stuff? Because we haven't got a clue. Ah, dearie me. Let's play one of those.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties.
We got it. I say we've got it. It's distorting awfully, but it'll do. It'll do until I hand in my notice shortly after the show today. 08459 455 555. Dennis is on the line. Morning, Dennis.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm fine. Are you sure it's not your ears that's wrong?
I think it might be.
Yep. Hello.
Yes. Now, Dennis.
Yes.
What can I do for you this morning?
You were on about dentists.
Yes.
Just so happens I've got some gorgeous dentists who were originally NHS, then they went private, then they set up an NHS dentist as well.
Right.
And not long ago, when you consider I've got most of my own teeth at 80-odd, I've not got a set of anything, you know.
Yes.
I went there to see the NHS dentist because I got a loose tooth at the bottom.
Oh, dear.
That's why my voice is hissing a bit now.
Okay.
Anyway, it got there. He wasn't available, but I saw the dental surgeon, the wife, the two dental surgeons there, proper ones. And she was absolutely delighted. She pulled the tooth out without any problem at all. She told me what was wrong with it.
Yes.
And we agreed. And she even put in a little packet for me so I could put it under my pillow and wait for the fairy to come.
What, did you get a farthing?
No, what happened was...
A guinea?
I took it out of there and I dunked it in sugar and sat and watched it ache.
Okay.
But, however, having said that...
Yes,
in
Dennis.
the days when we had school dentists came around, when I was about 8 or 9, and I had to have 4 back teeth out, they didn't hesitate about it. They had a pedal drill where he pedalled it.
Oh, you're joking?
No, I'm not kidding you. We hadn't got electricity in those days. It was only candles, you know. No, it wasn't. It was just a pedal thing. Anyway, they didn't bother to save teeth like they do now, try to do everything to save them, which is great. They just, I yank them out. So I sat there, 9 years old, with 2 bunches of cotton wool.
The noise when they yank teeth out from the rear of your head, the noise inside your head is incredible, isn't it?
And it hurts as well. And I had
Dennis.
teeth out and I sat there with bunches of cotton wool sticking out the side of my mouth, to try to stop the bleeding. But it was done. You'd expect anything.
Yeah, and 80 years later, you're still banging on about it.
I know.
Let it go. Let it go.
No, my voice has changed because I've got no tooth at the front now, so I'm hissing a bit.
Do you think there's a chance that you might actually lose your voice?
No, not a chance.
That's a shame.
Incidentally, what were you on about pearly kings and queens? What's wrong with them? Do you think the teeth, they're not teeth pearls?
No, the pearly kings and queens, they're on the front page of one of the newspapers here this morning. Here we go. They're on the front page of The Guardian. I've never understood the fascination with pearly kings and queens. I've always found them, I'm going to say 2 words, terrifying and hideous.
Well, I can understand that because you're not a Cockney.
No, I'm not a Cockney.
Well, that's why it is.
But what's the point of a pearly king and queen? Where do they come from?
They stitched pearl buttons on everything, and that was just the thing to do.
But why was it the thing to do?
Well, why was it the thing to do? Wear great wigs back in the old days. It was just the thing that happened.
Well, no, it's because their hair had all fallen out because they lived on such bad diets.
No, they didn't. They just had great big curly wigs.
Anyway, Dennis, I've got to end this conversation. I'm getting bored.
Are you good?
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now, 7 weeks after Luton's dial-a-ride service was withdrawn, a disabled pensioner in the town says he feels imprisoned in his own home. The service was taken over by Shop Mobility on an interim basis. Well, dial-a-ride withdrew its vehicles after Luton Borough Council announced it planned to remove the subsidy it gave to the company. Now, Shop Mobility and the council's passenger transport unit are running the service between them. David Gower from Luton says he's deeply concerned about what's happening. He joins me on the line now. Morning, David.
Good morning to you.
David, what's wrong with this current service?
Well, Ian, can I just make a small correction? The Shop Mobility no longer run the interim service. That's been cut back, been withdrawn completely. Shop Mobility do a very good service for people who are able to travel buy their transport from home to the mall shopping centre only. It's a first-class service and you can't fault it. But for people such as myself who are confined to a wheelchair, it's of no use, and it's not their fault.
So there is no service then?
Well, there is an interim service, but we don't have any details of what they can do and what they can't do. And it's a very hit and miss, and it's very, very worrying.
So you say hit and miss, and how does this hit and miss or this uncertainty affect you and your life?
Well, I used to be able to go, for instance, to the chiropodist, to the dental clinic, to the opticians, but that service no longer is available to me.
Mm. So what have you? Are you saying you're stuck completely at home?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
What would you like to see changed, David?
Well, to go back to the original Dial-A-Ride service. I use Dial-A-Ride twice a week.
Yeah.
And it was a superb service. The drivers were friendly. They knew us all by name, and we exchanged Christian name terms. It never faltered. It never let us down. We could book up to a month in advance. And if I wanted to go, for instance, to perhaps a discussion group for vulnerable, disabled, and retired members of the borough, I could go. But that, sadly, I'm being denied that.
I guess one argument could be, David, that everywhere is short of money and cuts are having to be made. Why should people support and pay for a Dial-A-Ride service?
Well, under the National Health Act, the government are responsible to help disabled and the vulnerable people in the country, and that appears to be, well, it has been dishonourably discharged. They've discharged their responsibility towards us.
And you'd like to see them buck up their ideas a bit?
Absolutely, because it's just not me. It's one. I'm not even a cog in a wheel. I mean, there's 800 plus passengers in Luton who no longer we are entombed, imprisoned, and isolated.
David, thank you very much for your time. 08459 455 555. David Gower there from Luton saying he's concerned about the changes to help now that shop mobility have declined to be involved any further. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. Excuse us if we're a little bit bumbling this morning. There have been a few technical problems. We've moved into another studio, and it's not quite set up in the way that I would, that I know how to work. Basically, the headphones are still a bbit funny. The lights are a bit funny. That's because I broke one of the lights, but let's not delve into that. Shall we have a look at the Facebook comments on Jamie Fowler, facebook.com/BBC 3CR. Robbie Fowler. Who's Jamie Fowler? I think I went to school with Jamie Fowler. Warren says, oh, come on, you can't be serious. He's in trouble because he describes two footballers at the weekend as fighting like girls. He went on air shortly after and issued an apology. Is it offensive? Mike says, I bet there were thousands of people upset. Not. Yeah. Victoria says, I can honestly say I'm not offended, and I often use this expression. I think I said it yesterday when I played GTA 5. Sonny says, people don't apologise for far worse things said. This is PC gone mad. Get a life, whoever insisted on an apology, and deal with the real bad stuff. In this rate, no one will be allowed to say anything soon. Ho, and I am a girl, and I am not offended. Neil Jones, pathetic to issue an apology. Darren says, stupid. I'm trying to see. Yes, I know. Hopefully we've sorted out the audio levels, Mark. John says, they really were fighting like a couple of childish, overpaid footballers. Accuracy in reporting is one of the BBC's greatest assets, isn't it? And Sue says, it's obvious this guy has never seen girls fight. What do you think? We're trying to find somebody who is offended by the use of the term. Justin Dealey has got a bet on with producer Catherine Boyle for a tenner. Is anybody going to call in And back up, Catherine, 08459 455 555. It's coming up to 7:45. It's BBC Three Counties Radio. Let's get the travel news now. Here's Adam.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Cheers, Ian. Still problems in Buntingford with the A507 closed off both ways at the junction with the Vets roundabout, the A10 there. And it's been closed since the early hours after quite a serious accident. They're continuing with the investigation work. It's slow in the area. The diversion is through Throcking on the Cossard Road. M1 southbound, busy from junction 13 at Bedford all the way down to 7 at Hemel Hempstead. Not a solid queue by any means, but it's definitely all slow moving. You've also got a patch of slow traffic now on the M40, London bound from junction 5 at Stokenchurch through to 4 at High Wycombe. The A1, firstly at the Black Cat roundabout, delays that are coming from St Neots, and then the A1 looking slow as you go into London through Boreham Wood past Stirling Corner. It's also looking quite busy now on the A10 as you leave the M25 and go through Enfield. Got the usual M25 delays into the roadworks section anti-clockwise. Those queues now tailing back well into Essex. But you've also got queues from the M1 round to the M40 junction 21 to 16. Trains and tubes have been running well so far today, and they still are. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Adam. Morning, it's 7:46. It's Monday, the 30th of September. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. The founder of the Harvard School of Management and Technology in Milton Keynes has told BBC Three Counties she named it after her grandfather. The Reverend Dr. Tina Beloveth Powerful is now being sued by Harvard University in America over alleged trademark infringement. The Chancellor George Osborne will today set out plans to change unemployment benefit. They'll affect claimants who've been through the government's work programme but are still without a job. The long-term unemployed will have to accept work placements or attend the job centre every day. In sport, Liverpool are up to second in the Premier League after a 3-1 win at Sunderland. 08459 455 555. We'll take more of your calls after the weather with Elizabeth Rizzini.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello, a very good morning to you. It's more of the same today, actually, a bright and a breezy day. There is a bit of cloud out there this morning, but that should thin and break where you do have it to leave us with some good spells of brightness and sunshine. The sunny spells are always best over parts of Hertfordshire. Just the risk of the cloud coming and going at times, particularly across parts of Buckinghamshire today. But temperatures on the mild side again for this time of year. Temperatures all the way up to 18 or 19 degrees Celsius by the time we get to the afternoon. That is 66 in Fahrenheit. It is going to be quite windy. We've got a southeasterly wind that's fairly brisk in places and could just take the edge off the temperatures slightly. Now, as we head into this evening and overnight, again, staying dry, we'll see temperatures drop to between 11 and 13 degrees Celsius. Still quite windy, and it's more of the same tomorrow. Bright and breezy. Again on Wednesday, bright and breezy. We might just see a few showers creep in. Some heavy rain in the forecast, possibly for Thursday. That's the forecast.
Every weekday morning from 9, the biggest local talking points.
There is only one professional force that can control chemical weapons. How can we, as a civilised country, stand by and let more poor innocent children get killed?
The JVS Show.
Harry's in Bedford. Let's see what Harry wants to say.
She knew what the laws were. She knew what she was doing. She got caught. Tough.
I disagree with the penalty. I think that for smuggling drugs, it shouldn't be a death penalty.
The JVS Show. Weekdays from 9. BBC Three Counties Radio.
We didn't do all of the papers. Shall we have a look at the rest of the papers? We missed out my favourite ones, the Express, the Mail and the Sun. I'm hoping the Express have got a cure for cancer, Alzheimer's or arthritis today. Shall we have a look? They've not let us down. They don't have a cure for arthritis. They've not gone that far. But pill that beats arthritis pain. Pill that beats arthritis pain? New treatment cuts crippling agony by 40%. Millions of arthritis patients have been offered new hope as a pill that cuts pain by up to 40% is planned for wider use. Scientists are launching a nationwide trial on how effectively the drug methotrexate relieves the agony of osteoarthritis in the knees. Right, so they're launching a nationwide trial. So that means, what, another 10 years, probably? Let's have a look. Let's go to page 4 and see if we can find out exactly when you will be able to get your hands or indeed your knees on this. They're going to run a trial from next year and up to 160 people. OK, so they're going to run a trial next year. It doesn't say. Don't rush out to your Boots or your other pharmacists that are available and provide excellent services, because you won't be able to get that for 10 years if it works. They're doing a trial on 160 people. Ooh. The Daily Mail. Pick up litter for your dole. Oh, dear. I've just seen that David Cameron has tweeted. Shall we read David Cameron's friendly tweet to the world this morning? I want to help the long-term unemployed back into work. Great. So today we're announcing training and work schemes in exchange for benefits. Let's just read that again. I want to help the long-term unemployed back into work. So today we're announcing training and work schemes. Fantastic. Oh, there's more? In exchange for benefits. Well, then they're not benefits, are they? If you're working for them, that means you're working significantly below the minimum wage. So is that fair? Keen to get your thoughts on this. I don't know what Jonathan's talking about. I suspect he may have a little nod about this in his show. Keen to get your thoughts this morning. 08459 455 555. Daily Mail. Pick up litter for your dole. Long-term unemployed would also clean up graffiti or cook for elderly in Tory work for benefits crackdown. Benefits will be stripped from the long-term jobless unless they work full-time picking up litter, removing graffiti or preparing meals for the elderly. What do you think? Good idea or a terrible idea? 08459 455 555. And the Sun, it's got some rubbish about that woman who's married to Ozzy Osbourne. For goodness sake, what a load of old guff. Now, the former England and Liverpool player, Robbie Fowler, has apologised for saying two Premiership footballers behaved like a pair of girls. Fowler was discussing a series of scuffles, including involving Fernando Torres and Jan Vertonghen, during Saturday's BBC Sport programme Final Score. Well, our women's affairs correspondent, Justin Dealey, has been looking into this. Justin, you got very strong views on this, haven't you?
Yeah, I just think it's very, very odd. I don't know why anybody would pick up the phone to the BBC and make a complaint about something like this. It is absolutely ridiculous. It was just something he said. There was nothing offensive about it at all.
Well, Justin, the argument that it was just something he said, there are lots of things that you and I know we cannot say.
Yeah.
Should this possibly be one of those things?
You often call me a Cockney wide boy, correct? So is that a derogatory term towards people in London? No, it's not.
Well, I don't think it's the same as putting down a whole gender.
Well, you're putting down Cockneys in London. There's lots of those in London.
By comparing Cockneys to you, yes, I am putting down Cockneys, and I apologise to any of my Cockney family for doing that. But it is a slightly different thing, isn't it? Cockneys have not been second-class citizens for centuries.
So women second-class citizens, what, now you're talking?
That's how a lot of people might view it, yes.
Now?
Yes.
In the year 2013?
They don't earn as much as men.
I'm amazed by those comments, but there you go. Wow.
What's amazing you?
Well, that you're saying that women are second-class citizens now. You're saying that now.
I'm saying that they are, in some cases, they are viewed as such. And
I don't view them as that. You don't view them as that.
The first example I've come up with, you can't dispute, women aren't as paid as much as men.
Yeah. Well, that will change in time.
So in terms of their pay packet, they are viewed as second-class citizens.
Well, pay packet, yes. But
so, OK, that's the first example I've come up with.
Anything else?
Well, listen, 100% so far. You've been speaking to people, haven't you, this morning?
However, yeah. I've been talking to men about this, first of all. I've been asking them whether they think these views are sexist. Here's what the men have had to say.
Nah, not one bit. That's all I've got to say. Not at all. It's just football, isn't it? Sport. It's getting a bit bad, isn't it, all this sexist going on. They're always bringing it up in football now.
So he's done nothing wrong at all?
Nah. That's my opinion. He ain't done nothing wrong. It's just a comment.
No. Pathetic.
Pathetic?
Yeah, pathetic, yeah. I mean, it's just, that's where it is, isn't it? It's a bit of football banter, but no, that's pathetic to say something like that.
So not derogatory towards women or derogatory towards women's football at all?
No, not at all, no.
He should have been a little bit more careful in the way he said it, but, it's an expression. It's not sexist, so no, I don't think he is. No.
OK, so that's you speaking to some gentlemen. Just to remind the listener, you have a £10 wager riding on this with producer Catherine Boyle.
Yep.
If we can find... What was the deal, Catherine?
Find a woman who thought that it was out of order what he said.
OK. Have you spoken to any women this morning?
Have I spoken to some? Yes, I have. I've spoken to a few this morning in Luton, and they pretty much said what I thought they were going to say. Here's what women had to say.
No, it wasn't sexist at all, because they were playing like girls. Torres claws into their face. Sorry, he should have been off. Robbie Fowler was dead right.
I mean, they got lots of complaints saying that he was having a go at women's football and that he was sexist. And, I mean, you're looking at me as if I'm mad by even bringing this up.
You are, exactly. No, footballers today, they were girly on Saturday.
And when you see that sort of behaviour from men on a football pitch, how does that make you feel?
It's disgusting. It's bad for young boys playing football. They're seen as their heroes. It's bad.
Now, Kathleen, your son is a professional footballer. He plays for Wolverhampton Wanderers, so it puts you in a good position to answer this. Robbie Fowler's comments on Saturday saying that footballers were fighting like girls. Do you think those comments were sexist?
Not really, no. Yeah, that's right. Everything today is too much. They read into it too much.
And when you go to football, obviously a lot more women at football nowadays. When you go, do you feel comfortable being in that sort of environment compared to, say, 10 years ago? Because things have moved on. A lot more women now go to football games, don't they?
Yeah, there's more women going to football. I feel fine. Football, no problems.
OK, well, Catherine, I think you want to come back and have a word with Justin
I'm not sure what you're asking them there. We weren't talking about football, were we?
We were talking about sexism in football.
Love.
And love. No, I'm just saying, I went out this morning and I put the questions to women.
It wasn't about football, though. It was about whether comparing someone's behaviour to a girl in order to insult them is still on.
Well, from two women there, the first person, who was a football fan, said they were behaving like girls. That's a woman saying that. And secondly, her son is a professional footballer. You can't get more credible than that. Somebody somebody's saying that, in actual fact, these days, people take things far too seriously.
I think you and I are coming from two different perspectives. And
No,
I don't think we're having the same argument.
I think I'll be honest with you this morning. I think you're being way too sensitive about this, and I think, what I said earlier on.
I'm not the one doing the cross voice.
No, earlier on I made the point. I said if any women were offended by this, well, I'm sure they're going to phone. Nobody is going to phone the programme this morning to say they were offended by this. Anybody who would be offended by this, well, to be quite frank with you, they need to get a life.
We've got a Facebook comment. Does that count?
Possibly. What are they saying?
Carrie Wright says, I'm offended. I understand your producer's point. These comments are and always have been demeaning and disrespectful to women. What's wrong with a girl's fighting technique? What's wrong with crying? We need to move away from these old-fashioned stupid expressions, as it reinforces that an idea that female characteristics are negative and less admirable than men's.
I believe that's £10 you owe me. Thanks, Carrie. I'll share it with you.
I just think comments like that, I think, what's wrong with this country? You can't say anything today. You cannot say anything. It's ridiculous.
No, you can't have a go at women for no apparent reason when they're not even involved in the fracas.
If Robbie Fowler had come out and said, you know what, women's football, nobody's going to go and watch it, that they should give up. No, they should give up right now because it's never going to work. If he'd said that, yes, those comments are highly offensive, but he's making a comment about two professional footballers who are acting
saying they act like girls. No, wait a minute. No, he didn't say acting like idiots. He said acting like girls. But he meant it that they were acting like idiots. That's a different thing.
Both of you, just drop the bone, both of you. Justin, we'll put out the phone number, 08459 455 555, if anybody was offended by those comments. Are you accepting Carrie from Rickmansworth Facebook post as enough evidence to give Catherine her £10?
If that person phones in and says that, yes. So it could be a wind-up. It could be somebody who set up an account just to stitch me up out of £10.
So she's put her own Facebook thing up there.
All right, listen, both of you, calm down. Both of you, calm down. Both of you are doing your angry voices. You don't realise it, but you both are. Peace and love. Piss on earth, I think, was the phrase earlier, and wasn't it? 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Still problems in Buntingford, I'm afraid. The A507, it's the Baldock Road and it's shut both ways. Accident investigation work continues after a serious accident in the early hours. It is closed at the Vets Roundabout, the junction with the A10 and the Baldock Road. Traffic is diverting via the Cottage Road through Throcking and it's looking slow. You've got delays on the M1 southbound, stop-start slow traffic from junction 13 at Bedford right the way down to 7 at Hemel Hempstead. It's quite busy on the M40 this morning as you go from junction 5 at Stokenchurch toward junction 4 at High Wycombe. The A1 busy from St Neots to the Black Cat roundabout, along the A1M from Letchworth to Stevenage, and then into London through Boreham Wood at Stirling Corner, and the M25 looking very busy through the roadworks section and from the M1 round to the M40. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Adam. More on the legal wrangle between Harvard and Harvard. One's a massive university in the United States. One's a small college in Milton Keynes that won't tell us how many students it's got.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning, it's 8 o'clock. I'm Richard Williams. The headlines: American university accused of bullying by Milton Keynes Business School, long-term unemployed face benefit changes, and dental complaints rising in the Three Counties.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The Harvard School of Management and Technology says they are being bullied by the Harvard University in America over their use of the name Harvard. The American university is seeking an injunction and damages over alleged trademark infringement. Speaking to Iain earlier, the Reverend Dr. Emmanuel Powerful, who is registrar of the university, said the university was intimidating them.
And you cannot tell me under the copyright law that this is a copy of this, because they're not the same. There's one R missing. So I was mad and I said, what kind of a thing is this? This is just bullying. They are trying to intimidate us, and it is wrong. We have the right to offer education here in the United Kingdom. We are doing a good job, and the public love what we are doing.
The Chancellor, George Osborne, will today outline plans to change an employment benefit. They'll affect claimants who've been through the government's work programme but are still without a job. Chris Mason has more.
The Help to Work scheme, as it will be known, will give the long-term unemployed three options: to do work placements, such as cleaning up litter, or turn up at a job centre every day, or take part in compulsory training to, for instance, improve their literacy. Those finding themselves on the programme would remain on it until they found a job. Breaking the rules would cost them 4 weeks' worth of benefits. A second breach, 3 months' worth. Labour said the idea was proof the work programme set up by the coalition 2 years ago had failed.
The number of complaints against dentists is increasing across the three counties as part of a 44% rise nationally. Now the General Dental Council has issued new guidance to help patients know what they can expect from their dental surgery. Speaking on BBC Three Counties, Hertfordshire dentist Dan Schaffer said people should go on recommendation.
I think the most important thing is have a trusting relationship with your dentist. If I want to find a dentist, for instance, I'll go to a colleague that I trust and I'll ask them their opinion, they'll give me their opinion and I'll go with it. And I think that people should be doing that as well.
Figures obtained by the BBC show nearly 300 children under the age of 12 in the UK were treated in hospital for alcohol-related problems last year. The number is a third higher than the previous year. And a public consultation into cuts totalling £17 million at Bedford Borough Council closes today. The authority says it's targeting bureaucracy and back-office costs in order to protect frontline services. Overall, it needs to make a £37 million reduction in spending by 2019. And in sport, Luis Suarez started a league match for the first time since his 10-match biting ban and scored twice to help Liverpool to a 3-1 win at Sunderland yesterday. And in League One, Coventry lost 2-0 at home to Brentford. Your weather for Beds, Herts and Bucks: it will be mainly dry today with a small chance of patchy rain. There'll be some sunny spells this afternoon. A top temperature of 17 degrees Celsius, that's 63 degrees Fahrenheit. And don't forget, you can get all your latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/Three Counties.
Thank you, Richard. Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. I think we're broadcasting loud and clear now. There were some technicals earlier. There may be a few more technicals as I'm in Jonathan Vernon Smith's studio. It's set up all weird. Everything's all to cock. I can't find anything. Anyway, we'll struggle through. You may not even notice, in which case I apologise for bringing it up. It's 3 minutes past 8. Lots coming up between now and JVS at 9, including American university giant Harvard squares up to Milton Keynes pipsqueak Harvard. Harvard says the little fella's trying to steal its glory. Well, we're asking, is Harvard trying it on? Complaints against dentists are up. Are you one of the many dissatisfied customers, or do you just avoid the dentist altogether? And the Tories want to take away benefits from the unemployed who won't work. They want them to pick up litter and cook for the elderly. Well, What do you reckon? Is that a sensible way to encourage people back into work? Or is it massaging the figures and exploiting those who are in a desperate position? Facebook.com/BBC3CR. You can give me a text, 81333. Start your text 3CR. Or you can give me a phone call. Always the best way to deal with these things, I think. 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Well, if you missed it, David Cameron has tweeted this morning about how he's going to encourage people to get back to work. His tweet, some of you may find a little bit... Well, let me read it. You make up your own mind. David Cameron, earlier on this morning. I want to help the long-term unemployed back into work. So today we're announcing training and work schemes. Now, if there was a full stop there, it would be hard to argue, but there isn't a full stop. There are 4 more words, and those 4 words are... in exchange for benefits. Today we're announcing training and work schemes in exchange for benefits. Well, then it's not benefits if they're working for it. It's a wage, and it's a wage that is significantly below the minimum wage. So does it then mean that's exploitation? Or have I got this all wrong? 08459 455 555. Peter!
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Peter. What's your take on this?
Well, I think we should be asking the MPs probing questions. I mean, they literally seem to be getting away with flannel, really.
Getting away with flannel? Why? What probing
because,
questions would you ask them?
Well, I would ask them, first and foremost, how much they have suffered in the downturn. We're all in it together.
Yep.
First and foremost. Some of this I equate with the Second World War, basically, what's going on.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're going to start to use people, if you like, unpaid slave labour, then that relates to the Second World War in Germany. And if they need to start moving people out from the gentrification areas, if you like, the gentrified areas in cattle trucks soon, so they might as well add that to the fast forward line, if you like, the GH2. So, you know, you're talking about things going on in this country that is totally anti-humanity, really.
But is it anti-humanity to ask people who are unemployed to do a little bit of work for their benefits?
Well, you listen to this scenario.
Yes.
I'll give you a scenario. My son.
Yes.
He's got an honours degree in mathematics.
Yeah.
He tried for quite a few years to get a job.
Yeah.
He works now part-time running a social club and making it profitable, basically.
Right.
He's got an honours degree in mathematics as such.
Right, but he's got a job?
Eh?
He's got a job?
No, he's got a part-time...
Well, so he's got a job, so he wouldn't be involved in this. But those people who haven't got a job, those people who are sat at home... those people rubbing their hands with glee at the thought of Jeremy Kyle after Lorraine, maybe they should be made to go and cook for the elderly.
They're talking about people who haven't tried, or they're dumb. They're not... My son's not dumb. He tried even for a hospital porter's job, couldn't even get that. You know, that sort of thing.
Well, wouldn't David Cameron's proposals give your son, if he were still unemployed, more skills and more opportunity and a greater chance to network that could ultimately lead him to get a job?
Well, he's got an honours degree in mathematics. What more skills do you need? His CV is better than his MP's.
But maybe there's a skill missing that prevents him from getting a job. Maybe he's not meeting the right people.
Well, are you sort of proposing that he will go and sweep a street, or he will go and cook a meal, or what nonsense? That's going to give him a skill? What absolute, utter nonsense. We should be asking probing questions. And if you remember the British gas advert, it could be you.
Oh, I thought you meant if you see Sid, tell him. But no, it could be you.
Yeah.
That was the lottery, wasn't it?
No, that was the British gas advert as well.
Oh, they both had the same slogan. That's confusing.
Tell Sid.
If you see Sid, tell him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what's happening today could be happening to any member of your family, your children, and It's absolutely un-British.
Peter, thank you very much indeed. Peter says it's un-British to insist that benefit claimants do part-time work, do community work, go and learn some more skills, go to a job centre every day. He thinks it's un-British. Well, what do you think? 08459 455 555. He compares it to World War II. What do you think? Is it a bit harsh? 08459 455 555. I have signed on in the past. I spent some of that looking for work. I spent some of that honing my skills that has ultimately led me here. I spent quite a lot of it, let's be honest, playing PlayStation and watching Trisha. I think it was Trisha back then. It may have been Vanessa. Gosh, dearie me, how times have changed. 08459 455 555. And the subject of Robbie Fowler. Said two players were fighting like girls. He came on air half an hour later and apologised. It's caused tensions here at work. Catherine Boyle, genuinely angry about it. Justin Dealey, genuinely angry that she's genuinely angry. There's 10 quid riding on this. Is anybody going to phone in and agree with Catherine? Stephen's in Hertford. Morning, Stephen.
Good morning.
Robbie Fowler saying that two players were fighting like girls. Are you offended by that kind of talk?
I am. I'm on Catherine's side of this, I'm afraid.
What? Tell me why.
Well, as the other gentleman quite rightly slipped up when he signed off before the adverts and said he just meant they were acting like idiots.
Yes.
Exactly. That sums it up, really. You know,
that was Justin Dealey. Yeah.
Half of the nation are idiots. That's the connotation, and it would be exactly the same as if everyone would be up in arms if he'd have said they were acting gay, for example, and using that word in a negative connotation. You know, it's school ground things you expect from children, not people in front of the nation on TV.
Isn't it, though? Isn't it? Are we being a little bit oversensitive, though, by saying, because some people laugh like girls, some men laugh like girls. Is that offensive? Where do we draw the line?
Well, that's assuming all girls laugh in exactly the same way, but I'm not saying we
shouldn't. They sort
of go... But I'm not saying it's not necessarily the comment that has been the massive point. It's maybe been the reaction to it. So he was quite right to apologise. He shouldn't really said it in the first place. But actually, it's the kind of venomous reaction of people like the gentleman on your show, you know, saying, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with it," and defending it. That actually makes it 10 times worse. You know, people just accepted the facts and said, "Okay, well, you know, next time he'll think again," and then he probably wouldn't do it again. But everyone kind of getting up in arms and defending that kind of behaviour actually makes Robbie Fowler seem worse in association.
And Stephen, I just got to check, because there is £10 riding on this. You're not in any way related to Catherine Boyle. You're not going to be getting a cut of this. There's no kind of shenanigans going on between you two.
No shenanigans. I'm not related to her anyway, but well done to her for sticking up for half the nation.
Stephen, thank you very much indeed. Well, Stephen there was referring to Justin Dealey and was quite vitriolic about what was going on there. Justin Dealey says, "Justin, hop onto Ollie's mic, if you wouldn't mind." Or is he going to come in? He's going to come in. He's got a rare moment as Justin Dealey enters the studio with me. Justin, do sit down. Are those headphones working?
Yes.
Okay. We just had a caller there, Stephen, who agrees with Catherine, and he thought he picked up on something that I heard as well.
Yeah.
When you said what Robbie Fowler meant was those two players were playing like idiots.
Two different comments.
You have linked...
I've not linked the two. Two different comments.
You said that instead of meaning they were fighting like girls, you meant they were fighting like idiots. So you've just substituted the word girls.
No, they were behaving like idiots, but it's not linked. That's the difference. They're not linked. And I still can't believe that people are phoning up to complain about this. I'm sorry. It's starting to really get on my nerves now. It's starting to really annoy me because, you know, you've got somebody on TV who's made a throwaway comment. That's not offensive, please.
Eva's in St Neots. Morning, Eva.
Good morning.
You're through to Justin Dealey.
Hello, Justin. How are you?
I'm well. I was okay. Until this morning. How are you?
We're okay.
What would you like to say on this, Eva?
I've just come in at the tail end of this because I'm driving. I'm in a lay-by now, I hasten to add. As far as I understand, the gentleman said that two male footballers, were fighting like girls.
That's correct.
Yeah. How could they possibly be fighting like girls? Well, they are, in fact, boys. Boys fight like boys. Girls fight like girls. This was obviously intended as an insult.
Well, put it this way, Eva. When was the last time that you were ill? When was the last time that you had a cold?
Gosh, 2 years ago?
2 years ago. Okay, now, if you had a cold, okay, and somebody said to you...
It's taken all morning to come up with this. Well done.
Okay, but if you had a cold and somebody said to you, oh, behave yourself, stop behaving like a bloke and just deal with it, because that's where the term man flu comes from. Now, would that be offensive towards men? No, it wouldn't. It's just a comment that's made.
No. It would be offensive to men. That would be offensive
Seriously?
to men. Because I am a woman, I have a cold like a woman.
Do you not, Eva, do you think that perhaps, we're kind of getting a little bit too excited by this? A guy just said something on TV, no one's been hurt.
No, I don't. I think that people have to be a little bit more careful about their throwaway comments. Stereotypical sort of throwaway comments which become commonplace can be very dangerous. I know, yes, this is all a little bit of a joke, but... It's a thin end of the wedge.
It is a bit of a joke, Eva. To be honest with you, I've got blonde highlights, okay? I've got a soft-top convertible car. I wear tight jeans. People make comments about me, but it's not derogatory. It's just a bit of banter. It's just a bit of fun.
A bit of banter, Justin. Eva's saying this is the thin end of the wedge, and this is dangerous talk.
It's not dangerous talk. It's just a comment that he's made. He doesn't mean that to be offensive. It's just a comment that has been around for a long time. That shouldn't be offensive to anybody.
Eva, thank you very much indeed. Justin, are you not worried that... I'm going to say something. I'm going to say, are you not worried that you're a dinosaur?
No, of course I'm not a dinosaur. I think the majority of people listening to this right now will say, why are you even talking about this? Because it's an absolute nonsense. And I'd love to speak to somebody, who picked up the phone on Saturday, who complained. They are complaining because they don't like the BBC. And some people in this country, all they want to do is moan and be negative. I've got no time for those people.
OK, you got that 10 quid that you owe Catherine?
Yes.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Still problems this morning, and it's along the A507, the Baldock Road in Buntingford. It's closed off for accident investigation work at the Vets roundabout, the junction with the A10. Looking quite busy in the area. Traffic's having to divert via the Cottage Road through Throcking. A1 busy at the Black Cat roundabout. You've also got delays on the A1M, junction 9 Letchworth to 7 at Stevenage, then into London through Boreham Wood, Stirling Corner to Mill Hill Circus. Across to the M1 and southbound, it's slow from junction 13 at Bedford all the way down to junction 7 at Hemel. It's a bit stop-start. It's not a solid queue, but it is all busy. The M40 London bound is looking slow as you go from Stokenchurch to High Wycombe, junction 5 to 4. Beaconsfield, some delays likely through the roadworks on the A355 as you come down toward the A40 and the M40 junctions. Beeching Grove in Watford is looking a little bit slow at the Escort Road. Back up in Bedford, and the Bromham Road coming into Bedford eastbound, that's quite slow on the sensors. Some short delays on the A6 as you make your way into Clop Hill. Hitchin looking a little bit busy on the A602. The A5, not too bad through Dunstable at the minute, but as you go past Markyate and down toward the M1, it is definitely quite busy. And it's also very stop-start on the M25. Anti-clockwise delays through the roadworks, and it's taking on average as long as possibly an hour to get from the M1 at junction 21 to the M40 at junction 16. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much. Right, it's 8:17, nearly 8:18. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. The Harvard School of Management and Technology says they are being bullied by Harvard University in America over the use of their name, Harvard. The government is to impose new conditions on benefits for the long-term unemployed. They'll affect claimants who've been through the government's work programme but are still without a job. To keep receiving benefits, claimants may have to attend the job centre every day or do community work. In sport, Liverpool are up to second in the Premier League after a 3-1 win at Sunderland. The weather today for Beds, Herts and Bucks, it'll be mainly dry with a small chance of patchy rain. Some sunny spells this afternoon. 08459 455 555. Coming up, we'll have more on the great Harvard debate.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Three Counties Sport brings you live championship football.
Might come to Acuna. Acuna on the turn. Acuna with a shot. What a goal!
We'll be with the Hornets every step of the way as they make the trip north to face Blackburn.
We want to see where we stand right now, and I think it would be a great opportunity to see the standard where we need to get.
We'll have all the insight from Boss Zola, live and uninterrupted commentary, and all the post-match reaction.
And Watford have a second goal!
Blackburn versus Watford, tomorrow night from 7 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
You look like Mr. Stamper from a James Bond film. I've never heard of Mr. Stamper, but there are similarities.
Who's saying this?
Lots of people. Not lots of people. One person. I don't know. Pauline Biggleswade.
Really?
Yes, has got in touch.
I wish I had that chiselled jawline.
You've got chiselling. You've got the same hair.
Well, thanks very much.
You're very, very welcome. What's on your show today?
Coming up on the big phone in this morning from 9, is it a good idea to make the unemployed work for their benefits? You predicted we'd be discussing this. And from 9, indeed we are. Chancellor George Osborne will unveil new plans later today for the long-term unemployed. People who've been out of work for 2 years or more will have to undertake work placements in return for their benefits. From April, to qualify for job seekers allowance, you'll have 3 options: work placements such as cleaning up litter, daily visits to a job centre, or taking part in compulsory training to improve your literacy. Well, Labour says this idea is proof that the government's policy on unemployment has failed. But from 9 this morning, what do you think? Is it a good idea to make the unemployed work for their benefits? 08459 455 555.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's emerged that the business school in Milton Keynes, which is being sued by a university in America with a similar name, is itself claiming £2 million in a counterclaim. The Harvard School of Management and Technology is seeking money from Harvard University in case it has to change its name. Well, the American university is seeking an injunction and damages over alleged trademark infringement. It's a confusing one, this. It's a legal minefield. I don't know the answer. We can speak to Mike Gardner, who's the head of intellectual property at law firm Wedlake Bell. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning.
I guess you deal with cases like this quite a lot. Are there any precedents in this case?
Well, I don't think it's a matter of precedent, because very often these cases just turn on their own particular facts. I mean, there is a law of registered trademarks. I haven't seen the court papers that have been filed, but I imagine it revolves around Harvard's trademarks and their claim that Harvard School has started using a name that's too similar to theirs, with consequences that there'll be confusion or some other kind of damage.
Could there really be? Could they really argue there could be confusion? One is a religious school in Milton Keynes. One is a huge university that's been around for centuries in the United States.
That's right. That's something the court will obviously have to decide. But on the face of it, they'll be arguing, of course, that the name is very similar. And these days, with the internet, people looking at things on the internet, searching under Harvard, they may say that that's going to draw in customers that wouldn't otherwise come to Harvard School. They may be operating in slightly different areas, but they're both, broadly speaking, educational establishments.
Harvard says that it's been registered with Companies House. Does that make any difference? Does that give them any backing?
No, registration at Companies House is different. That's where you have a company name, and that doesn't transcend your rights. So, for example, if I registered a company, presuming there was a company left called Shell Limited, that wouldn't stop the petrol people having a go at me on the basis of their trademark.
The website for Harvard in Milton Keynes, it's a little bit sloppy, I think I can politely say. They've spelt the word school wrong, and there are some sentences that don't quite make sense. Could that possibly go in their favour?
Well, I suppose it might be argued that overall people reading it will think that there isn't a connection between the two, but I suppose Harvard may be arguing that that's helping undermine their reputation. If people go to the website and think it's something to do with them and see spelling mistakes, I suppose they could argue that's damaging to their reputation.
And the Harvard School is making a counterclaim of £2 million. Is that realistic?
Well, it sounds a lot of money. It's not uncommon for people to say that they'll rebrand if they're threatened with trademark infringement, if they're paid money to rebrand. But clearly, if they are actually committing infringement, then Harvard won't be obliged to pay them anything at all. So it sounds a lot of money. I don't know what that counterclaim is made up of. But again, it will turn on its facts.
And Mike, how does this work now? How can this drag on for a long time, or does it get solved relatively quickly?
Depends if the case settles. If the case runs all the way to trial, I saw a newspaper report that indicated there was another hearing in February. It's possible that's the trial, and then depending on the outcome of that, If the parties are still fighting, there could be an appeal. If there's a point of law, it could even go up to the Court of Justice of the European Union, and that can take forever. But it remains to be seen whether it will reach trial or whether the parties will reach an agreement.
Mike, thank you very much. Mike Gardner, Head of Intellectual Property at law firm Wedlake Bell.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. You can also go to facebook.com/BBC 3CR. Lots of you having your say on this whole Robbie Fowler thing. I'm not quite sure how I feel about it. I've used phrases like laughing like a girl, or look at you giggling like a girl. Oh, you're running like a girl. I've used phrases like that. Is it such a big thing? Robbie Fowler, the football man, described two gentlemen having a fight as fighting like girls. He had to go on air and apologise shortly after. Well, is it nonsense? Let's look at some of your Facebook comments. Mark says, I think the apology made it worse, not better. He has done rather more controversial things. Has he? Is he a controversial footballer? Is he a naughty man? I don't really know anything about him. He looks like a nice fella from that photograph. Lucy says, my family up in Yorkshire have a phrase for this kind of thing. Give over. Give over. Give over. What a load of rubbish. Alex says, it was a sexist remark, and although it's not offensive in the whole, it's still sexist because he used the term in a derogatory way as a way of putting them down, and if to put them down he compares them to girls, then it is sexist. Well, okay, oh, blimey, Alex has written an essay. I would say, listen, you can probably use this as towards your degree. Anyway, he's basically saying that point. Let's have a look. Mark says, I find that girls fight worse than blokes. If anyone had seen a cat fight, I think they would agree. Really? I don't know what that means, Charlotte, so I'm not going to read that. Perfectic. What does is that a word? Perfectic? Pathetic, she means, yes. Bloody pathetic. She's written perfectic. OK, right, OK. Well, she's spelt like a girl. Is a phrase that someone might say if they were commenting on that. What do you think? 08459 455 555. I know that Justin believes very strongly it's a bit of nonsense. I think it possibly could be a little bit blown out of proportion as well. What do you think, though? I think someone makes a good point there, that by making an apology, you're kind of drawing attention to it, aren't you? You're sort of making things a little bit worse, because some people, I would imagine most people, hadn't even noticed that. Maybe one or two idiots on Twitter, because that's where idiots like to hang out, boys and girls. But by going on air 30 minutes later and saying, I said something and it was out of order and I'd like to apologise, well, that is drawing attention to it, isn't it? 08459 455 555. You can text as well, 81333. Start your text 3CR. I'm more offended that the BBC has employed Fowler, the player most famous for his line-sniffing goal celebration. Why does every ex-Liverpool player get a job as a pundit? Maffin hands up. I don't get the reference. It's to do with taking drugs. Ollie, could you come online? You know football, so put on your microphone and let's tread carefully if there's anything vaguely libelous. What is the problem with Fowler?
Well, in this case, it's the line-sniffing celebration. I believe he scored and then did he closed one nostril and did some sniffing. He mimed he was snorting up cocaine. Why would he do that? Is that a reference to something in particular, or...? I don't know. OK, so that's just... my time. OK, right, OK, fine. Had Robbie Fowler said they were playing like girls, it could have been a big compliment. Look at how well our girls are doing in their World Cup, says James. Barry says, I wish our men could play like the girls. And Jackie says, I agree with Justin. What a stupid fuss. People need to get a life. Are we being a little bit too sensitive about this? 08459 455 555, facebook.com/BBC3CR, or you can send me a text, 81333. Start your text 3CR.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The A507 in Buntingford still closed. This is the Baldock Road and it's shut for accident investigation work at the Vets roundabout. After a serious accident in the early hours, traffic having to divert via the Cottage Road through Throcking, and it's all looking a little bit slow. A1 busy southbound from St Neots Junction to the Black Cat roundabout, then on the A1M from Letchworth to Stevenage, and the A1 into London through Boreham Wood, Stirling Corner to Mill Hill Circus. The A120 very slow westbound in Bishop Stortford as you head toward Albury Road and Little Haddam. Bromham Road in Bedford looking slow into Bedford this morning, eastbound toward the A6. If you're using the A6 through Clop Hill, that's very slow at the A507 junction. Wellingborough Road in Olney, the A509. That's looking rather slow as traffic makes its way down from Northamptonshire into Buckinghamshire. The M1 got delays southbound that start at Bedford and run pretty much all the way down to Hemel Hempstead junction 13 through to 7. The A5 busy in Dunstable now at the A505 junction, still looking slow past Markyate and Flamstead down toward the M1 at junction 9. And then you've got a big patch of slow moving traffic on the M40 Stokenchurch to High Wycombe. Delays in Beaconsfield through the works on the A355. London Coney busy on the A414. M25 stop start through the roadworks, and it's pretty solid as you go from the M1 round to the M40. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8:30 with the headlines. I'm Richard Williams. The Harvard School of Management and Technology says they are being bullied by Harvard University in America over the use of the name Harvard. The American university is seeking an injunction and damages over alleged trademark infringement. The government is to impose new conditions on benefits for the long-term unemployed. They'll affect claimants who've been through the government's work programme but are still without a job. To keep receiving benefits, claimants may have to attend the job centre every day or do community work. And a public consultation into cuts totalling £17 million at Bedford Borough Council closes today. The authority says it's targeting bureaucracy and back office costs in order to protect frontline services. Overall, it needs to make a saving of £37 million by 2019.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The MK Dons manager Carl Robinson believes Dele Alli is one of the best young players in the country. Alli scored for the Dons in the 3-1 win against Stevenage on Saturday, and Robinson clearly rates the 17-year-old.
I see him do things in training which things I've never seen in my life before. The kid is one of the best. Winning penalties, scoring goals, backing and things, nutmegging people, driving inside, winning his tackles, winning his headers. What's he not got? He's got an air of arrogance about him, but confidence as well. He's one of the best young English players in the country.
Watford will today begin their preparation for the match against Blackburn tomorrow night. The Hornets made it 3 league wins in a row on Saturday, beating Wigan 1-0. Watford are now up to 4th in the Championship. Luis Suarez started a league match for the first time since his 10-match biting ban and scored twice to help Liverpool to a 3-1 win at Sunderland. It now moves Liverpool up to 2nd in the Premier League table. More from Alan Green.
After a disappointing week, Liverpool looked strong again today amid clear signs that the partnership between Sturridge and Suarez is going to be electric and could see Liverpool hit their target of finishing in a Champions League place. Sturridge scored Liverpool's first. Sunderland argue it came off his arm. Then after an exquisite pass from Gerrard, Sturridge set up Suarez for 2-0. That Sunderland scored 7 minutes after half-time through Giaccherini suggested for a short while an upset. But Suarez from Sturridge again knocked that on the head, and Liverpool are up to 2nd.
To golf, and Hertfordshire's Tom Lewis tied for 3rd at the Alfred Dunhill Links Championship. England's David Howell won the event, his first tour title since 2006. And speaking of his 3rd place, Lewis, who's from Welwyn Garden City, said he was very pleased with his final day performance.
You know, yesterday, for instance, I was playing so well I didn't think anything could go wrong. And, you know, today it was nice to have kept a clean sheet with no bogeys, and I think that was really important because I kind of expected to drop a couple. I knew the wind was up and I knew that maybe I'd get a little tight or drop a shot, but you know, it was nice to just hold that putt on the last and have a good chance.
Finally, athletics, and Kenyan Wilson Kipsang broke the marathon world record by 15 seconds yesterday, claiming the Berlin Marathon. The 31-year-old clocked a time of 2 hours, 3 minutes and 23 seconds to better the previous mark set by his compatriot Patrick Macau 2 years ago. There's more at 9.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. If you want to give us a call, 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. We've been talking about this story that's in the Daily Mail about Robbie Fowler. I'm sorry for saying fighting like girls. BBC pundit's apology for jibe about footballers. He said that two good footballers are fighting like girls. Well, really? Is that such a bad thing? Jackie's in Flitwick. Morning, Jackie.
Oh, good morning there,
What's your
Ian.
take on this?
Well, I did see the incident to which Robbie Fowler was referring to, and I just think he was quoting his own opinion, and why shouldn't he? You know, he's there as a commentator, he's entitled to his opinion, and if people cannot accept throwaway comments like that, like adults, then it's a poor show. You know, haven't some of these people got more to spend their lives doing? A lovely morning, and there they are, getting all uptight about such a silly comment.
But is it some people could be offended by it and could view it as being a little bit sexist, and that maybe we should be striving for more?
Well, why is it then that when girls play netball, if they're in any competitions, they have to have the fingernails cut? So therefore, you know, it's indicating that girls can scratch, whether on purpose or accidentally.
Yeah.
This guy, he scratched. So are we now going to say you've got to go around and check all the guys' fingernails? It's just, does it really matter what the guy said? It was his opinion, and we are all entitled to our opinions.
Jackie, thank you very much indeed. Maxine in Broxbourne has emailed in. I'm a Scouse woman, recently moved to Hertfordshire and working in Milton Keynes. Well, that's ticking 2 local boxes. Thank you for that. I think Robbie's comments were justified, and I cannot see why anyone would be offended. Some people nowadays like nothing better than to find fault in things people say innocently. Ridiculous. I have to say, Ian, your imitation of the Scouse accent was boss. Hey, there we go. I didn't know I could do accents. Normally I can't do accents. Well, I've got one under my belt. Thank you very much for that. Now, a public consultation into £17 million worth of cuts at Bedford Borough Council closes today. The authority says it's targeting bureaucracy and back office costs in order to protect frontline services. Overall, it needs to make £37 million worth of cuts by 2019. Well, Sian Hunt is a Labour Cabinet member and is also in charge of benefits and customer services and joins me now. Sian, what do you make of these cuts?
Well, it's a place I'd rather not be, to be quite honest. I don't want to make the cuts, but the government is putting a squeeze on our services, and quite frankly, we need to protect elderly people. We need to protect children and children's services, and that's why the consultation has been out at this early stage, ready for next year, so that we can see where we can make the unwelcome cuts.
Who's going to be hit hardest? Where are we going to see these cuts?
It's going to be the back office staff, to be honest, and because we need to protect our frontline services, and it will mean that even more jobs will go, I'm afraid.
Will members of the public be affected? You can't save £17 million just by getting rid of some back office staff, can you?
I don't think members of the public will be. I mean, this is the idea of the consultation, is that if members of the public have got some really good ideas about what to do, well, they'll be welcome, and I'm certainly looking forward to seeing the results of the consultation.
Any idea how many staff could lose their jobs?
Probably about 50, I would think.
Wow, that is a significant number.
Well, it's a very significant number. I mean, the council, since it became a unitary, has trimmed down, I think, about 400 people have lost jobs. And it's, you know, when you go into local government, I don't think you should expect it to be a job for life. But on the other hand, if you're doing a really good job, to lose your job is very, very sad.
What's the mood like there at the moment?
Oh, the staff are absolutely brilliant. I mean, and they are so professional. They are just wonderful, and they just get on and do what they need to do. And some people who are facing early retirement, which some of these jobs are, but some people are working even harder, I'm afraid.
Will there be any reductions in services to the public?
No.
None at all?
No.
And on a different note, your IT system went down a week ago. Is it back up and running yet?
It's back up and running, yes. It was a very serious breakdown. It was like a body shutting down. It was that we had a failure of 6 hard disks, and it was extremely serious. But children's services and adult services and payroll were up and running more or less straight away on Monday. All the rest of the staff lost IT systems, and customer services had to deal with post-its.
Oh dear.
I know. Handwriting.
I know. I vaguely remember that from school. Is everything back up to normal now? So if people get in touch, everything will be fine and working and available?
Everything is back up and running, but nevertheless, it could cost a considerable amount of money to make sure we've got everything's backed up. Everything's in a remote. We've got backup in 2 different places. One in a remote area, so that if the building burned down, we'd be okay. But we still, I think, we'll have to consider whether or not to do a parallel system to make sure this doesn't happen. 6 disks, I think, is catastrophic.
Sian, thank you very much. Sian Hunt, Labour Cabinet member, also in charge of benefits and customer services, talking about the IT system that's now back up and running, which is good news. But the fact they've got to save £17 million worth of cuts... Well, it's going to make £37 million worth of cuts by 2019. Ouch. But the £17 million, up to 50 people could possibly lose their jobs.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
That's the phone number if you want to give us a call. I should just mention as well, for those of you who don't know, this show has a weekly podcast, which the figures last month were incredible. Hang on a minute, I wasn't here for 2 weeks last month. What does that mean, Dealey? Oh, we had amazing figures, the biggest month. So thank you so much for that. If you want to download the podcast, very, very simple. You can go to the BBC Three Counties page, the website, and click on podcasts, and you can download it there. Or if you're on iTunes, if you go to the podcast section, type in Iain Lee, IAINLEE, and BBC, it pops up and you can subscribe to it then. It's about 50 minutes, an hour long, kind of the best of the week, and we record a few little extra bits and pieces that you won't hear on the radio. If you download the most recent one from last Friday, you'll get to hear political reporter Paul Scoins telling a horrific story about the death of a kangaroo. I should warn you. I know. Hands up who wasn't expecting to hear that. Yes, it's a horrific story. It was too graphic to broadcast on BBC Three Counties Radio, so we've managed to sneak it onto the internet, where apparently anything goes. So you can go and download that. And also, if you want to get in touch, we've had a few cracking stories recently that have come from you. And while we have a top team of journalists and researchers here, it's nice to get some stories from you from time to time. So... if you've got something you think we should cover, something that's huge that we've not covered, or something that's tiny that affects just you, it doesn't matter, send me an email. Iain.lee, IAIN.LEE at bbc.co.uk, and we'll have a look. I mentioned this last week, and I got an email from someone saying, "Oh, I sent you an email, you didn't reply. I tried to reply to you, sir, but for some reason it kept bouncing back. So apologies for that." It's on the front page of some of the newspapers, including the Daily Mail. Pick up litter for your dole. Long-term unemployed would also clean up graffiti or cook for elderly in Tory work for benefits crackdown. What do you think? Good idea? Should people work for their benefits? Adrienne's in Bedfordshire. Good morning, Adrienne.
Good morning. Sorry, this is my first time and I'm a bit nervous.
Don't. It's just you and me having a chat, for goodness sakes. What do you think about this? Should people be forced to work for their benefits?
Well, what I feel about working for their benefits is that it possibly will give a reason for people getting up in the mornings and getting the unemployed back into the work mode, especially the long-term unemployed. Also, it possibly could build up their confidence and give them an up-to-date reference when they do apply for jobs.
But do you not think, because they'll be working for their benefits, so they'll be on less than minimum wage, is that not exploiting them ever so slightly?
Well, you could look at it that way, but also you could look at it the way I've just said, that it's given a reason for people getting up in the morning, because they can get very depressed when they are unemployed.
Oh, of course, and I've been unemployed, and I did get very depressed, but quite often unemployed people have a reason for getting up in the day. It's to go and look for work, and it'll be harder to do that if they're cooking meals for old people or sweeping the streets.
No, I'm sure that there'd be allowances if they had an actual interview to go to, that they would be allowed to go for that interview instead of cooking food for, as you say. But I still feel that it would build up their confidence. It'd be good communication with other people and that. And like I said, also give them an up-to-date reference when they do apply for a job.
Is the problem not the fact that people are lazy, but there just aren't enough jobs to go round, are there?
No, well, the increase in pension age doesn't help, especially for the young ones that are wanting employment. But you've got to find ways and means of trying to help these people that are trying to get a job but are finding it difficult, and just get deeper and deeper into feeling that they are unemployable, which, of course, they're not. Everyone's employable.
Can I ask?
They've all got their own unique benefits.
Adrian, can I ask, how long have you been listening to BBC Three Counties Radio?
Quite a long time.
What, a few years?
Oh, yeah, quite a few years. When I used to work, and I've stopped work now, and I am a retired person, but I used to have it on my car radio.
And today is the first day you've ever called up?
Yeah.
You did a cracking job. No one would ever have known it was a first-time call.
Well, thank you.
Love it. Well, I look forward to your second time.
Oh, I don't know.
No, you'll do it again. You were great, Adrian. Thank you very much indeed.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Baldock Road is still closed. This is the A507 in Buntingford, and it was after an accident in the early hours. Police still doing investigation work. It's shut at the Vets roundabout where it meets the A10. Traffic diverting through Throcking on the Cossard Road, and it's all looking a wee bit busy around there as a result. Fair bit of traffic on the A1 this morning. Southbound slow from St Neots toward the Black Cat roundabout, then on the A1M Letchworth to Stevenage, and the A1 into London through Boreham Wood, Stirling Corner to Mill Hill Circus. Bedford and the Bromham Road eastbound, the A4 280. That's looking rather busy approaching the A6. If you're heading south on the A6, it's looking quite slow through Clop Hill at the A507 junction. M1 southbound slow from Bedford at junction 13 to Hemel at junction 7, and then through Dunstable you've got some delays on the A5, mainly between the two A505 junctions, but it's also slow then further down the A5 as you approach the M1 at Redbourne. M40 London bound slow Stokenchurch to High Wycombe. M25 delays through the roadworks, and very stop-start from the M1 round to the M40. Trains and tubes running well. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Adam, thank you very much. It's 8:46. It's Monday the 30th of September. Who knows what that means? Yes, 2 days away from my mum's birthday, but more importantly... Well, no, hang on. But not quite as importantly, tomorrow is the 1st of October. It was June, about 20 minutes ago. Anyway, it's 8:46. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. The Harvard School of Management and Technology says they are being bullied by Harvard University in America over their use of the name Harvard. The American university is seeking an injunction and damages over alleged trademark infringement. A Labour councillor says as many as 50 jobs could be lost as Bedford Borough Council looks to save £17 million. In sport, Liverpool are up to second in the Premier League after a 3-1 win at Sunderland. Coming up, we'll be talking more about Robbie Fowler's fighting like girls comment. Was it offensive? What do you think? 08459 455 555. Let's get the weather now. Here's Elizabeth Rizzini.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello, very good morning to you. It's a bright and a breezy day today. There is a bit of cloud out there at times, particularly towards western areas across Buckinghamshire. Best of the sunshine always be further east, so across Hertfordshire, that's seeing the lion's share of the sunshine today. But all in all, it is a pretty nice day just about everywhere. Temperatures rising nicely in the sunshine, and we'll see the best of them peak at 18 or even 19 degrees Celsius. That's 66 in Fahrenheit. Always tempered by that rather brisk southeasterly breeze, so you will want to watch out for that at times. So feeling a bit chilly in more exposed areas, exposed to that wind anyway. Into this evening and overnight, staying mild, temperatures down to between 11 and 13 degrees Celsius again. Quite cloudy at times overnight, and it'll probably be a cloudy start to the day tomorrow as well. And we might just see a few outbreaks of light drizzle tomorrow, particularly again over parts of Buckinghamshire, just a system spreading in from the west. But for the most part, it should be dry again. The best of the brightness further east. It's looking similar on Wednesday. Might just catch a few showers around though. By the time we get to Thursday, we're talking heavy rain. So make the most of the dry weather while it's still here. That's the forecast.
Roberto Perrone on BBC Three Counties Radio.
If you're at home, sit back, because this is going to be very, very interesting. You've got the selfie, the legsy, the bumsy.
You're going to start that trend.
Roberto Perrone.
We seem to be heading headlong into war again.
We're very keen to stop this from happening.
We don't know where this might lead. The lie that took us into the Iraq War could become a shocking truth in this one.
Roberto Perrone. Weekdays from 3 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Now, Robbie Fowler was forced to apologise on Saturday after describing the behaviour of two Premier League footballers as fighting like girls. Well, it's prompted a heated discussion this morning with both sides coming down. But are we getting a little bit too excited? Holly Coombe writes a column for the feminist website The F Word. Morning, Holly.
Morning.
Where do you stand on this one?
I don't think we're getting sort of het up about it, but I think it's right for him to be criticised and for him to get a bit of stick, because, I mean, it is a sexist comment. I mean, the idea that when women argue, it's trivial, it's silly, it's a bit of a spectacle, you know, whereas when men fight, it's real. I mean, that is quite sexist.
Are there... I'm going to say something that as I'm forming this sentence in my head, I'm realising it sounds a little bit churlish, but I'm going to go along with it anyway. Are there gradations of sexism? And something like fighting... Oh, yeah, they're fighting like girls. It's not inherently nasty, is it?
No, I mean, yes, there is a grading of sexism, absolutely. I mean, it's not necessarily a misogynistic comment. I mean, it all depends on tone, though, doesn't it? Because it could be said in a really nasty, vicious way, or it could be said in a sort of passing, lazily sexist way. But I think it still deserves to be commented on, you know, even though that is true what you say, that it can be graded.
Are we getting too sensitive about things like this, or do you welcome the fact that Mr. Fowler had to apologise on air?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm not saying string him up or do anything that's out of proportion, but to have people... I mean, criticism can take many forms as well. I mean, to criticise something like that, one doesn't have to be sort of up in arms or saying sack him or, you know, sort of anything like that. You can actually make that criticism in a jokey way, I think. I think sometimes people make comments, and I think, you know, they deserve to be sort of ribbed for it and teased for it, if nothing else.
We've had a few voices agreeing with what you're saying. Not too many. We've had a few. One of the typical comments we've had on Facebook is from Rupert. I've got no interest in football, but those offended by this should man up and get over it. Life is too short to be offended by trivial throwaway comments.
Yeah, see, this word offended, I think there's always sort of such an emphasis being put on people not to make a comment, because if you do, you're sort of weak and offended and upset. And it's like, well, it is possible to sort of hear a comment like that, and it doesn't shake you to the core, but you still think, oh, God, not this kind of sexism again. And I think that's okay.
Is it an evolution of language? Because, you know, 15, 20 years ago, you would have been able to say, oh, they're fighting like a couple of gays. You know, you could have used throwaway comments like that, which now, of course, and rightfully so, you can't use. Do you think that the language will evolve to such a point that fighting like girls, or he giggles like a girl, that will become verboten?
Yeah, just that it will become dated and sort of pointless, and kind of, why would you make that generalisation about women? You know, it would just seem ridiculous. That's where I'd like it to go. Not that everybody would say, oh, it's offensive, you can't say that, because then, of course, people will find it all the more tantalising to say it. But just the idea that it's just ridiculous, really. If
I was out with you, Holly, and we were out having a nice meal, and there was a friend of ours, and our friend had a very distinctive laugh, and I went, oh, Steve, you didn't laugh like a girl. Would you pick me up on that?
It's not as bad as the fighting like girls, but I think I would, because it's like, well, what does that even mean, you know, laughing like a girl? I mean...
It means a giggle, like...
Well, yeah, but not all women laugh like that, so it kind of seems like a bit of a redundant comment, so I'd probably just point that out.
Holly, listen, thank you very much for coming on this morning. I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
That's Holly Coombe, writes a column for the feminist website, The F Word. Well, I think she made quite a pretty decent point, all things considered. I'm joking. What I mean by that is a very well-balanced and rational point. Yeah, it's not the most offensive thing in the world, but it certainly draws our attention to some phrases that are perhaps we should give more consideration to. We should think about a little bit more before we chuck them out. We've got 7 minutes of the show if you want to give us a call on that. 08459 455 555. We'll have a quick last look at the Facebook comments as well. And also, story that JVS is going to be doing after 9 o'clock. This story that people are going to be required to work for their benefits. Where is it? On the front page of the Mail. Pick up litter for your dole. Long-term unemployed would also clean up graffiti or cook for elderly in Tory work for benefits crackdown. What do you think? Is that a good idea? Will it stop those lazy scroungers for signing on and living a life of Riley on the dole? Or is that image of unemployed people a bit of a myth? Most unemployed people want to get back to work, and this is simply exploiting people to do horrible, dirty jobs that no one else wants to do for less than minimum wage. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. Andy from Chesham has emailed him. What's wrong with working for benefits? It gets the unemployed up in the morning, presentable, frees them from the charge that they are lazy freeloaders who don't want to work. It gets them doing useful things, improves discipline and self-respect, stops them having a cash-in-hand job while claiming, and reduces time for antisocial behaviour if they are prone to it. We need to get across the message that social security is charity, not a right. Well, Andy, you make quite a few sweeping generalisations and assumptions there. It gets them doing useful things, improves discipline and self-respect. Well, it would it improve self-respect or would it create resentment? Improves discipline? Well, why aren't they disciplined anyway? We'll get them doing useful things. We don't know they're not doing useful things. Stops them having a cash-in-hand job while claiming. Well, yeah, there are some people that do that. Of course there are. But to say all of them? Or to imply that all of them? And it reduces time for antisocial behaviour. You add the caveat, if they are prone to it. But, really, a lot of unemployed people who've fallen on bad times or they've come out of college and they can't get a job. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. And, oh, look, Andy in Chesham's gone crazy on the emails. It's another one from Andy. Andy, you should come in and host the show, for goodness sakes. But you may be hosting it tomorrow. My voice is on its way out, dear listener. I'm flagging up now. Flagging up. Maybe having a sickie tomorrow. I don't know yet. But my throat is killing me and my voice is on its way out. And when I get a cold, it goes to my chest. You see, it goes straight to my chest. And I'm like, oh, dear, that's a day's work I'm not going to get paid for. Robbie Fowler was right because these footballers were pathetic, although it is an innocent figure of speech and we need to remember the comment was aimed at them, not women. I've endured years of man flu comments. Debates like this may seem to trivialise the sexism debate, where real issues of glass ceilings, lower pay and promotion opportunities are not addressed with urgency. We all know what Robbie meant, and it wasn't to poke fun at women. There you go. Shall we have a quick look at the front pages of the papers before we finish this show? The Telegraph. No more easy dole, says Osborne. Welfare claimants will have to work for the dole by cooking meals for the elderly, picking up litter. How do we know they can cook meals? Do unemployed people have better cooking skills than employed people? Tens of thousands of long-term jobless welfare claimants will have to work for 30 hours a week doing community service or lose their unemployment benefits. Oh, dearie me. Steep rise in children suffering depression. Thousands of children as young as 5... Excuse me? I folded that up to discard it. I'll read more. Thousands of children as young as 5 are suffering from depression and should be offered more help. Experts said modern childhoods have become increasingly stressful with pressures from social media and cyberbullying. What, at the age of 5? They shouldn't be on the bloomin'... They shouldn't be on the bloomin' social network sites at the age of 5, should they? Really? Nice. The Clinical Health and National Institute of Health and Clinical Excellence says doctors and schools should be doing more to identify people suffering from depression. 8,000 below the age of 10. Really? The Times. Natalie Portman is an actress. I don't know what she's doing there. Tories and UKIP can strike deal, says Farage. The Independent. There's an old man, Joe Eastwood, Captain Joe Eastwood, 76, being kicked out of the Tory conference for heckling. You don't really get heckling these days. I like a good heckle. Yeah, there we go. I'm being heckled in my headphones by Catherine Boyle. Osborne's welfare war. Go to job centre every day or lose benefits. And finally, let's have a quick look at the Sun. Oh, it's Sharon Osbourne banging on about her TV series. Who cares?
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
No change through Buntingford. I'm afraid the A507 is still closed following an accident in the early hours. The investigation work continues. It's shut at the junction with the A10 at the Vets roundabout, which is the Baldock turn. Diversion is through Throcking on the Cottage Road, and it's queuing in the area. By Boston, and as you come down toward Black Cat roundabout, very slow from St Neots. The A1M looking busy then, junction 9 Letchworth through to junction 7 Stevenage, and into London delays through Boreham Wood from Stirling Corner to Mill Hill Circus. Bedford and the Bromham Road still looking pretty busy eastbound up to the A6. If you're using the A6 through Clop Hill, you can expect slow traffic past the A507. M1 southbound patchy and stop-start from junction 13 at Bedford through to 7 at Hemel Hempstead. A5 quite slow in Dunstable, and it's very busy then coming down to the M1 at junction 9. London-bound M40 still slow Stokenchurch to High Wycombe. The M25 stop-start through the roadworks, and queuing Kings Langley through to the M40. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much, Adam. Well, my voice managed to hold out for 3 hours, which is indeed some form of bonus, and certainly to my bank account, if not to your ears this morning. Right, that's it. Don't forget, go and download the podcast. You can send me an email. JVS is up next. Until tomorrow, from me, ta-ta.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning. It's 9 o'clock. I'm Richard Williams. The headlines. American University accused of bully tactics. Job threat at Bedford.